All right, so we in the building. We here. We here. We here. I'm out here in these streets. Out here in these streets. Not these YouTube streets. Real life. Real life. Man, I was listening to a podcast, Talk Heavy podcast. For people that know, they know. For the ones that don't know about the Talk Heavy, like it's a funny channel. Might want to go look it up. But crazy part with Talk Heavy going on. Told it. So the crazy part with the Talk Heavy podcast, they have like people send stuff in, like questions, trying to get some answers. And it was crazy because when it came down to it, there was a guy, he had, sent in about his wife, well not wife, but girlfriend. She would always wear too many revealing clothes. Like it was cool when he first got with her, but over time he like, man, I'm not feeling this because this girl always getting cat calls. Dudes always talking about how fine she is, looking at her butt because like her he basically put this in the letter there. Her cheeks hang out the bottom of her shorts. She wear a lot of revealing stuff for her breasts and stuff. And now that they've been in a relationship for a minute, he thinks she too revealing. But basically, she was like, cool, thanks, thanks, thanks. So he was like, basically, when it come down to it, she pretty much, she pretty much say, well, you met me like this. You met me when I was basically out here in the world, dressed like this, looking like this. But now you want to change it up and say, well, I want you to look different. So that came. It was a big problem. We here, uh, we building over it. What's going on? So the crazy part was this: when it came down to it, the situation was that the girl, she didn't want to, change up. She wanted to still wear the revealing clothes. So that's why I came up with this title, because it was funny that one of the guys said, if somebody is wearing a Amazon jacket or an Amazon shirt and they carrying some boxes, are they a delivery guy? Because the one guy, he was saying that the girl was a whore, and he was basically saying she wear too much revealing stuff. And the other guy came with this whole concept of she wear them clothes as a way to go fishing. You know, Frugal Mama in the building. She wear the clothes as a way to go fishing. So if a lady is wearing revealing clothes and she get this man, should she continue wearing revealing clothes? Because if you wearing revealing clothes, people gonna look at you a certain way. I mean, it's understandable that you dress to impress, but also whatever you wear pretty much is the revealing of you. So if you fool around, let's say you wear suits to work all the time, and just say one day you come in some sweats, everybody gonna be like, "Who is this guy? He's out of place. Like, why does he have on sweatpants?" Oh well, I'm not working today. I just came to get something out of my office. You're gonna be, a sore. You're gonna stick out like a sore thumb because if everybody at the job is wearing suits and you're the only person not wearing a suit, what's going on, Dr. Dunbar? You're gonna be the eyeball. Same thing that reveals if, you know, in at my job. I don't have to wear this yellow vest, but a lot of times I've been seeing a lot of delivery guys and stuff where people pulling guns on them. People are doing all kind of stuff. Now I have to wear this in the warehouse at my job, for safety, ocean, all this stuff. I got a forklift car training for, riding a forklift, all this stuff. So I'm forklift certified. But at the same time, it's just like I say, crazy how by me wearing this vest, when I go to Walmart, people think I work at Walmart because of the blue shirt and the vest. They think I work at Walmart. So I always got to remember when I go to places like Walmart to take this vest off. Otherwise, they're gonna be asking me what aisle is the baking soda on, or what aisle can I go find deodorant, stuff like that. Even one time, this lady she asked me, said, "Can you hand me that deodorant up there?" And I got it for her. Then I started back talking to my wife or something, and the lady's like, "Oh, I'm sorry. I thought you work here. Don't worry about it." Cause I'm like, "You too short. Ain't no way you gonna reach that deodorant up there. Or ain't no way you gonna reach this and that. So you too short." Man, that's a pretty cut. It's like it's a pretty color on this Cadillac. It's almost like the pearl, white pearl that Avon they have, but this is like a peach color on a Cadillac Escalade. It's a nice color. But anyway, when it come down to it, like I said, the way you dress, people are gonna dictate. Well, this is your profession. This is how you move. I might go ahead and just drop the link. But the thing is, when it come down to it, that's just it. Like the way you dress, people are gonna judge you off the way you dress. I mean, there's no way around it. I mean, give or take, if I come into the church wearing sagging, baggy pants, most people 9 times out of 10 gonna look at me a certain type of way. Say, well, this guy's coming to the church like this. He might be a game banger. He might be a troublemaker. I mean, when it comes down to it, you coming in the church to do what? Worship and just different ways. But then it also goes into a relationship. The way you dress in a relationship. Um, like this guy, for instance, his girl was dressing. You know, the guy said she dressed slutty, but I say revealing. But to a degree, if you dress so revealing, 9 times out of 10, most men don't want all these guys looking at their girl like that. So they're gonna feel some type of way, you know. And that's why I laugh when I talk to guys online, and I can honestly tell with certain guys I've talked to, I know they haven't dealt with the women that they talk about they want. Like, money, what's going on? Because a lot of guys say, man, I want a 10. I want a bad looking woman. But when it come down to it, a lot of guys can't handle a 10. And I mean, this is off the rip. True facts. A 10, for one, is high maintenance. You gotta keep her nails done, toes done, all that. She got her dress fly. That's the life of a 10. A 10 has an image most of the time they're trying to uphold. Like before there was the influencers, you had the girls that, were the it girls. And they carried themselves a certain way. They looked a certain way. And that was just the biggest thing. Like the way they dress, the car that they drive, everything has to be on point. Getting their nails done. I know one of my friends, his what's going on, Spud? One of my friends, his wife, he gave her some. He gave the what's the name of it called? The hair salon. He gave the lady at the hair salon a $1,200 check every month because that's how much he paid for his girl hair. $1,200 each month. She had a short style, so she would literally go get her hair done every week. Yeah, I'm gonna touch on that, but the thing is, I'm gonna touch on this right here. But the thing was this, you know, he literally paid $1,200 each month for her hair because she had a short style. So I guess with short style, every week she wanted to be popping. Looking, I'm like, I've never seen this woman with a bad hair day. When my partner was married to this lady, I never seen this woman with a bad hair day. Never. This woman got her hair done every week. Literally within 7 days, she was getting her hair done. So probably on day 6, it wouldn't look so good, but she always wrapped her hair. She did what it took to keep her hair looking good. Because most on average, you can keep your hair looking good as a woman for a whole week. You know, Lonzo in the building, what's going on? But I'm gonna touch on this right quick. But yeah. So the way you dress pretty much typically runs out everything. And like I was saying about my friend and his wife, she got her hair done every week. You know, and that's the life of a 10. That maintenance, the way she looked, she worked at a good job. Her job she worked at, she made good money. On average, if me and this guy didn't work the job we work to where we can control our salary, she would make more money than him because she worked in the medical field. So naturally, she would make more money than him. But getting back to we building over here, he's right about that. The way a woman dressed, it pretty much is determined what type of man she's dealing with. You know, a lot of times the dudes that, let me use this loosely, not saying let their woman dress a certain way, because having an understanding of this, a woman can dress the way she want to dress, but when I say let their woman, because it comes to a point to where my wife ain't going out, anywhere looking wild, dressing little bitty skirts and stuff like that. If she was the type to dress like that, I wouldn't have been with her anyway. So, you're right. It's just a form of respect, because I got enough respect for my wife to where I'm not going out with the hoochie daddy shorts on and all this in front of a whole bunch of ladies, because I'm gonna be drawing eyes. You know, with if I got the 6 pack of the guns and I'm out here with the tank tops all the time, wearing tank tops and this and that, I'm showing my body. Same thing for a woman, she's wearing these small skirts and stuff. I mean, typically it goes both ways. If I'm a man that's, I was listening to earlier about Broke Farmer. He said this. Let me catch this comment right here. Yeah, I mean, I'm with you on that. You know, my wife, she gets her own hair and nails done herself, because the way we have it split, we have joint account, then we have separate accounts. But the reason why, oh boy, he did that for his girl, you know, it was different because that's how he grew up, you know, doing certain things. And plus, that's the way his girl wanted to handle it. She wanted it to a point to where she say, my man does this for me. My man get my hair and nails, you know. And in return though, he basically ran the finances. Any money came through the house got filtered through him. She got a stipend of an allowance, and he pretty much made sure stuff was, ran a certain way. She would pay the bills majority of the time, or he would pay, if he remembered or something to that degree. But she would stay on top of the bills, but she was filtering the money directly through him, you know, and that's the thing. Okay, when it come down to it, it's funny because a lot of times, you know, a lot of those thick women. I used to know this girl in high school. Me and her, we was cool. We never did really hook up like that. Things happen. But at the same time, when I used to hang around this girl, everybody tried to holler at her. Like to the eye, she was a I would say a 9. In my book, she was a 9, but most guys looked at her as a 10. Because she had it was the face was nice, but the body was banky. She had the typical body that most of these guys want. Big butt, big breasts, all this stuff. But when it came down to it, like me being her friend, it was so many dudes that was disrespectful. And I kind of was glad that me and her never really got together because, like I be telling guys, and guys don't listen. A 10 is a headache because dudes, they are mad disrespectful. And when I say mad disrespectful, man, they be going at the women like crazy. Hey, man, well, they're holler like it's a couple of guys. They just shoot. I'm sitting right beside her. You know, to a degree, you got guys that are respect and be like, yeah, you know what's going on. Hey, man, this your girl. But then you got the guys that just go direct. What's up, girl? Who you up here with? What's going? You that's your man? You with him for real? And I'm like, like I kind of feel offended. Like I gotta say something to you, but then me being me, it's like you testing the water. So why I need to go through this? With you, Gold P. But yeah, and that's what the biggest thing was that too with her line of work. A girl can look a certain type of way and it'll be okay, but too revealing, like she was still wearing shorts with her cheeks hanging out the bottom of, you know, what type of, to a degree, what standards are you gonna hold for yourself? I see every once in a while you wearing something like this. This guy was like, she wear it all the time. She wear it all the time. And the podcast is called Talk Heavy. They're part of the Devin Wade, and the people who know about Devin Wade show. It's a spinoff show from what's the $1 million worth of game. Devin was the guy who ran the engineering for $1 million worth of game, but it was kind of a bump head thing with Gilly because Gilly didn't want to pay the man. And Devin started his. Then he got another crew guy by the name of Talk Heavy, and they always do like real good videos. Y'all if y'all know it's the Prince of Hunter Park. You know, and they have a little intro. Man, it's funny to death. The dude, he be like, you should mess with a chick that stutters because you will bust your before she say no. I mean, the show is funny. They have a lot of crazy stuff going on. Yeah, but what Gold P said, sir, Gold P, let me let you know something about marketing. When people see something crazy, they want to see what it's about. If they, look at things and it don't look right, they're gonna go check it out. So, Gold P, market yourself, sir. The same dude was putting on his belt wrong the other day and was trying to make himself look clean. All right, you know, ain't no more talking. Well, Gold P, man, you cool. That's my bro, right? That's the OG. That's the one tongue son. You know, but yeah, I mean, just a point of reference. You know, my wife should have more respect for me, but then again, would I want to date a woman that dressed like that anyway? Though, that's the thing. I tell guys when I wanted to get married, I was looking for a woman that carried herself as a wife. I didn't go out here saying, man, I'm gonna marry the first woman I see. I'm gonna marry this. No. I went after the woman that was the marrying type that wanted to get married, that looked at herself as having a family. You know, the thing is, a dude pretty much on average, you can literally smash a woman like all day. There's a lot of women that just want to have sex, and just being honest, open about it. There's a lot of women that want to have sex, but they either want to have sex with the right guy or they want to deal with a certain type of guy to have sex with on average. And when it comes down to it, you gotta like figure like, hey, if I want a wife, I need to go out here and look for a woman that's a wife, who moves like a wife, who acts like a wife. She's not out here dressing scandalous. And you know, the thing of it is, could this guy possibly brought this girl to his mom and dad or grandma in them house like that? No, like you'll be embarrassed. This is something that you might want to hit and quit or whatever, like guys want to do, but it's no long term. So I don't get it where guys are, want to talk about these women the way they dress, but you want to hit, you want to, no, it's not no long term thing. You dealing with this woman, but at the same time, like I said, it gets kind of funny. If you want a long term relationship with a woman, have a wife, literally when it comes to that, you're gonna look for that type of woman. And it's always the point of the woman that you like. Because I always say this, my 10 isn't your 10. My 10 isn't your 10. I can deal with a woman, that might be a 6 in somebody's book. But in my book, she's a 10, you know, because she's my archetype. She dresses a certain way. She look a certain way. Her body is this way. That's my 10. So dealing with it from that point, like having an understanding, that's my 10. Like that's the type of woman I want to mess with and marry and stay with long term. How many people can honestly say that, you know, when it comes down to that? Because we're picking off of other people's type. When it comes down to it, there's a lot of men that if every man say they like big butts, so you're coming into the respect of where, man, I want a girl with a big butt. Why? Everybody say, man, big butt girls are cute, big butt girls are this, and that's the whole stereotype of it is. You know, when it comes down to it, don't they buff the body? Um, uh, I would say it's like this, and they use this for an example as well. That when it comes down to it, if both of us are broke and we both living broke, I get with a girl, she broke, I'm broke. Then you be like, man, I'm tired of being broke. I want to change my life. Let me go out here and start doing better, learning the trade, give me a job, and better myself. I will want the best for that woman. I mean, it's not in a sense, it's the mindset. I'm not the same she as I am when I was 18. When I was 18, I probably was wilding out. People would say, man, you was wilding. You was, doing this and doing that. You was going to the club and you was doing this. 21, 18-year-old guy. I was out there living that life. But by the time I got a little older, I'm like, man, I really don't like this. I do it with my friends, but it's not me. And the thing of Buffy, she might want to change, but she don't know how, or she just in that mode to where I've been living like this all my life. This is all I know. And prospect of her changing is that push. Like I was listening to the same podcast, but it was a different woman talking about something that she was like, in her first marriage, she would just go crazy spending a whole bunch of money. And her husband never told her to stop spending money, is getting reckless. And she said, if he would have told me to stop spending, I would have stopped spending so much money. But it was to the point to where some people they're not properly trained. Some people just don't know. Some people don't have that, mindset to change unless somebody either forces them or tell them a different way, a different option. You know, and that's the thing. The dude compromising with her. She can still dress sexy but classy. Like, don't wear something with your cheeks hanging out in the back. You can wear your short shorts, but I don't need your butt cheeks hanging out. I need your butt cheeks covered. That's the thing. And she probably come from a different background, different lifestyle, so that's why she constantly wants to dress like that. You know, but how much of a respect is going to be for the woman? I mean, much respect for the man. She's his girl, and she's dressing like that. And shout out to Rogish in the building. What's going on, Rogish? What's going on, Rogish? I gotta see everybody in here good. We over here. All right, so we 100. Everybody over here good. I always try to make sure everybody have their wrench so they can check out each other channels and stuff and go for it. But I mean that is true. If you messing with somebody like Buffy the Body, you're not gonna hide all that butt. I mean that's just what it is. No matter what she wears, is gonna reveal. Just like we had a conversation today on Queen Sunkiss's channel talking about the kindergarten teacher with the big butt, and she ended up getting a lot of flack because she had a big butt. I think she ended up getting a BBL or something like that. But the point of it was she was a kindergarten teacher, and the women were hating on her so bad because of her body shape. I'm like, whether she's a teacher, whether she's an administrator, anything, just work at a call center. When she walks out that building, other women are gonna be hating on her because of that body. I mean, that's just what it is. And the woman never wore revealing clothes like that, like they're saying. She wore stuff that fit her frame. You know, she wore pants that looked like she stuffed herself in. She wore certain clothes that kind of, like curved and accentuated all with her body and stuff. But other than that, she wasn't wearing mini skirts. All her skirts were past her knees or to her ankles. She was wearing tight pants, like the yoga pants or the spandex or whatever. But what women don't wear stuff like that, And when it comes down to it, if you look good, you just look good. I mean, what's the problem with looking good? It comes with a cost. Like, basically, I was telling my wife this. I said a lot of women get BBLs for other women. They don't get them for the men. They get the term stunting on these women. Stunting on these women. That's what they wear. That's what they do them for. Yeah. And I mean, it's crazy how they would come at the teacher because she looks so good, but at the end of the day, man, I mean, it's crazy. Even with fellas, being honest, dudes with six packs, work out a lot, all this stuff, you know, you're not gonna be walking around with your shirt off all the time with your wife, cousins, and friends come around. Respectfully, you're not gonna be, all in the biz like that. Wearing the hoochie daddy shorts, talking about you ready to go work out. Your old lady gonna feel some type of way. Y'all go to the beach, you know, you want to wear a speedo, know what type of dude like that. But just saying, dude want to wear a speedo and all that. That woman gonna feel some type of way. She gonna say you overdoing it with this situation. Yeah, I mean that's the thing. Like her looks pretty much dominated, but we can easily say it was tasteful. Her looks and it was tasteful. But the point of reference is people didn't like it. I got a fire 4 miles away. That is crazy. Yeah, but I ain't seen the kindergarten teacher with the Daisy Dukes. I seen the kindergarten teacher. If that's the same one we're talking about, I don't remember her ever wearing Daisy Dukes. She wore them what they call them capris to her knees. I remember she wearing something like that. And if she wore some Daisy Dukes, it wasn't to school. You know, a person they can do gardening with Daisy Dukes on. That's at their house. And a lot of times, a lot of those pictures they were getting from her was off her Instagram, or if she was doing something with the kids, it wasn't revealing like that. So when it come down to it, hey, that's everything subjective. Because I don't know, man. It was funny like that because they was trying to ride on the teacher, talk about how bad the teacher was doing this and bad the teacher doing that. But at the end of the day, that teacher was just dressing. Okay, now the mom at the kindergarten graduation in the days. Okay, okay. Now, for one, where her man at? That hey, you ain't going in there with my daughter like that, you know. But then it goes to show you what type of environment or type of woman she is, and this is what we going into the talk like this. That's why the man didn't want his girl walking around being too revealing. Yeah, I mean a lot of them were eating, but then a lot of them too were working out. That was like the biggest thing because they were eating and they were working out. For one, they was working out because like this one lady I seen, she was a bottle girl. She was working out and she works out 5 days a week. You know, that's like I know a couple of girls from back in the day that I went to school with that were strippers, and they say they always had to keep their body on point to compete, and that was the thing. Eating, working out, all that stuff. They had to do that. Like you got to compete with other women. That's what I'm saying. Like the BBLs are for competing with the other women. The BBL wasn't for you know the woman to say, well, I got a big butt to attract a man, because when it gets down to a point, you 70 years old with a big butt and it's all sloppy, it don't look too good, you know. So a lot of women, when the pandemic, they were, you know, getting their bodies together. They were, trying to look right, you know. And the thing of it was, when that time got hard, it set into a point where they wanted to snag a man. So hey, what's the best way to get that man? Let's go ahead and go for your crown. Start look a little better. Start dressing a little better. Go from there. You know, say the least. When it comes down to it, a lot of them, were basically like, hey, they were shopping. And it was to the most part to where you know that's what I'm talking about right there. The way you wear your clothes and being so revealing, I mean, literally, it's gonna catch up with you. Yeah, I mean, a woman that has a good shape, she just got a good shape, and she been working out, doing it like going hard in the paint. I done seen a lot of stories where a lot of women lost a lot of weight, you know, and why not show off your body? I know women have told their story online and stuff, talking about how back in the day they was over 200-300 pounds, and now they dropped all the weight and they look good. What's wrong with that? You know, you literally dropped the weight. I understand you want to wear revealing clothes of your body, but respectfully, man or no man. I'm just saying, my wife like the Daily Wrap Up crew. Those guys had a girl on there. She was, pretty, I would say mid. She probably in her 30s or something. So she was saying that her dad would never tell her mom what to wear. My dad would never tell my mom what to wear. My dad, no, man, this and that. And I think they were from the islands. And she was like, man, my mom could wear the little Jamaican fishnets and my dad won't say nothing to her. And they was like, well, call your dad right now. She was under the impression, oh, my dad won't say this. My dad, she called her dad, told her dad, yeah, dad, such, mom will wear this and go out with you. Hell no. And she was shocked that her dad told her that too, because she didn't think her dad was, gonna so called be controlling. That's not even the point of being controlling. That's the point of being respectful. Like I said, as a man, I'm gonna walk out and carry myself and look a certain way that, presentable to my wife. Men easily can walk out the house, don't shave, don't do none of this stuff, run into somebody, look all beat up, look a train wreck, and it'll embarrass your wife if y'all just walking, going somewhere, doing something real quick. It'll embarrass her. So to a point, same applies for that man. If you got a girl and she's wearing some revealing clothes, and let's say you meet a pastor or a business partner, he's looking at your wife like, who is this lady? Like, is this your wife? And people have been like that. Who is this person? They'll make you feel offended that you even dating this person. I mean, it's crazy to that point to where what's going on, Rogish?
Hey, peace to you, she. What's the word, man?
Not much, man. I mean, it just having a conversation about what you wear. Like I said,
No, no, you cooking,
looking
man.
at a
You cooking,
I
you
was
cooking.
looking at this podcast, Talk Heavy, and they
All
were
right.
having this conversation. And Talk Heavy, they were basically saying how when it come down to it, a woman shouldn't be dressing revealing so much when she have a man like that. Motivation with the weightlifting geek was going on, and that's a big thing. Like I say, with me being married, my wife ain't gonna be wearing no clothes that's too revealing because she's a representation of me. Let's say if I go into a business meeting and I'm talking to somebody, and next thing you know, they be like, "Man, who let the hooker
Yep.
in here?"
Yep.
And that's that's my wife. You know,
But wait a minute. Wait a minute. I think that's where things start breaking up because for us that still resonate as hooker hoe imagery, hoochie. You know what I'm talking about? Uh, you know,
exactly.
so we are still connected to the old style of the traditional style of viewing that. Well, in this new style, they've actually been using that as the new form of feminism. So before it was just like one of the byproducts, you know what I'm saying? They want to put themselves out there as, you know what I'm saying, or putting a pussy on the chain wax. But now it became the thing not necessarily to do for sexual liberation, but for inner worth and inner strength. It's part of a woman's strength. But wait a minute. You, okay. What about your worth and the worth of all that you're connected to? That's why I call feminism the coldest form of pimping in the history of existence, because it works like a social cancer, and it eats the women from within, and they let it. No matter how many times somebody is showing it to them, it's like a disease or something. Like, what's a disease that really affects somebody? Like bulimia or something like that. It's like a social.
Yeah, like it's similar to AIDS. It's like
Yeah.
it kills you from within, and the more you try to go against it, it's already there. Like you say, well, man, I'm
Man.
gonna stop dressing like this, but then you have that other form of other women coming like, hey, you're not gonna join the slut walk with us this year. You're not gonna you know be,
Bitch,
be with us hoes on the stroll.
this is titty Tuesday. Why your titties
Yeah,
coming up? Put them out
yeah,
there for a
and
like.
they, yeah, and that's a problem, man.
Not even for
I
no
try to
dollar. Not even no dollar, just for a like.
keep it respectful over here, but I'm about to turn into one of these panels like I talk with AP and it came to God. Hey, and I
Hey,
was just talking to Kane to God last week, man. He
right.
said he about to come back, man. He said that the YT streets were too crazy for him. But you know, this is the craziness of it. You literally have women giving their bodies for likes and views.
Yeah.
Like it's to a point to where she don't have to go out here and stand on the corner and sell her body. She can sell her image online for money.
Whew.
How can a man compete with that? Man, I wanna make you my wife. You don't have to work. If you want to work, you can. I don't need you. I could just go to the internet and drop a couple of videos, and I can get
I'm good for
you
the
know,
next 2 months.
$3,000, $4,000 a month just on social media.
Yeah.
So it's like that pattern right there control, especially if a woman looks good. And I always say this to the degree that woman can be a, a I would say ugly. I'm just gonna be trying to be nice about it, but she could be an ugly woman as
Aesthetically
long as she have a
challenged.
body.
Right.
Yeah, as long as she have a body, she's gonna get by. As long as she have a body, a dude can say, "Man, that woman is hideous, but her butt is banking, and she's always gonna be accepted as an okay chick." Like I tell most of those guys over there in the ministry, I say, "We keep saying that we want better options and better this with the better girls, but as long as you keep having sex with the hoes, they're gonna feel irrelevant." Like
Yeah.
every guy's gonna say, "Well, Keisha this and Keisha that."
What about pump
As
and
long
dump?
as you have other like the pump and dump method. But as long as those guys are steady messing with those women
Hmm.
gonna have value within the community.
Exactly.
And a lot of
Exactly.
guys don't want to hear that because their whole thing is they want this whole thing that the I'm talking about this too. But they want the woman in the street with a freak in the sheet. That doesn't exist most of the time.
Well,
And
the thing
I was
is,
gonna get
your
some
woman
guy.
don't offer that. You turn her into that. That's not
Yeah,
something that she can offer
yeah.
you. Once she chooses you, then she takes your guidance and you mold her into that, and she permits herself to be molded into that. That's part of that submissiveness.
I'm I might even I'm gonna send you this video, and then you might can snatch this because I want to get on somebody's panel and rip this up. The unicorn man and woman. Carlos Miller said women want a guy with a six pack, six figures, big thing. He got a house in Marietta. He got a house in Buckhead, a condo downtown Atlanta. And he said 9 times out of 10, that's a woman with a lace front because most men ain't like that. On average, you got most men don't have the money to compete. Like I always say
Right.
this, and I know the numbers are skewed. I know it's not all the way 100. You literally have, I would say, about in Atlanta 21 to 1 on the ratio of men and women. And everybody said, well, they say it's
Yeah.
8. They say it's 8. They say it's I think it's 8 now, 7 or 8. And I'm
That's
like,
what it
y'all
was.
keep saying this
That's,
7 or 8
what.
numbers from back in the day.
Yeah, that's back in the day. Wait a minute.
But then the only reason I say 21 to 1 because you got the men that have crossed over to the other side. So what are all them women? They not in that
Right.
ratio over there. They in the
Look,
other ratio.
look. Patrice O'Neill said it best. He said, "Look, he said there's already like 6 women for every dude, right? So
Yeah,
I got my 6. I got I got the retarded dude 6. I got the gay dude 6.
yep.
You know what I'm
Hey,
saying? I got the cat. I got the incel 6. You know what I'm saying? The motherfuckers got 6. They got access to it. And they use.
it,
So really, it's going to be an overabundance within the numbers, and this is where the to me the essentiality of the concept of polygamy comes in. You know what I'm saying? With the whole sister wifery, but it takes the women being able to operate at a certain personal integrity for her to wish to, what I'm saying,
yeah,
see another sister as a sister in order to share that with, in order to build, get more order and all of that. If other than
yeah.
that, it's just everybody fucking, and those numbers are just going to get further and further more expansive.
Let me say this before Alonzo jump in too. So not only do you have the woman looking for the unicorn man. You got the dudes looking for the submissive woman that's the freak in the sheets. That's that bows down, that cook me a big piece of chicken type dude. Women are out here giving submissiveness. It's like the whole thing is not nothing is not given, it's earned. And I've heard women say, "Man, I don't want me no man, this and that." But then when a guy comes, man, hey, calm all that down. Come over here and get with a weird one. Okay. It's the way you talk to these women, your tone, the way you move. Them women will go, but they not going for no reason. It's I can't just go to the go to a job and say, "Hey, I'm looking for a wife. Where y'all at?" Women are not going like that. Hey, they'll volunteer just to get the money from you. But other than that, they're not going like that. But what's going on, Alonzo?
Hey, I heard you niggas hiring. Hey, I heard y'all got bitches, man. What's the rate on y'all bitches, dog? What's up? Don't pull it back. You got it. Wipe out.
Oh man,
What to do?
White Bass, what's going on, bro? What's up, She?
What's
Yeah,
going on?
man. That's There's a lot to unpack. I've been listening for a minute, but piggybacking right off of what you're saying, it is a dichotomy, right? So I guess I'll go back to where you was explaining, like in terms of the outward appearance and it being a reflection of one another, and that's very true.
Fact.
But like you said today, with the appearance, everybody's looking for the unicorn. If you notice, and I feel sorry for like these under 40 people, to be honest, because if you look at like the women, like if you look at like VH1 and Love and Hip Hop and all the models, they literally look like the exact same woman. They have the exact same lips, the exact same baby hair, the exact same size and shape of boobs and butt that looks like a thorax. Their legs do not match their butt, so even though it's a big old butt, it looks weird.
that split of hair in the middle that just sit on their head, that little what the fuck
baby hairs. And those are baby hairs, apparently. Which I'm like, bitch, you 40. What baby hairs you got? Like,
But see, that's the whole thing. That's the archetype, man. They like the IG model girls are passing out. Like I always say this: society standard. This is what guys are looking for. You need your butt like this, your hair like this, and they going. All of them are going. It ain't even about your education. Kevin was right when he said to a degree, your money don't matter. Because dudes ain't worrying about your money. Dudes is worrying about your body and your look. But that's the whole thing. A lot of guys are not, being truthful about themselves and looking past all that. Because once you look past that, then you kind of say, well, like, what's his name? Cat Williams. Go rub one out in the bathroom, then come back and tell me, is this girl fine?
So how you thinking,
Yeah. But it even goes back to, like you said, right? Where, not only are dudes, man, disrespectful when you got a quote unquote 10, but often those women are very disrespectful, especially in our community. They're very disrespectful to their men because they kind of get to, because guys are, okay, baby, but damn, look at that ass, though. She might choke me in my sleep, but, all that ass, boy, when I be hitting it from the back, every once in a while, it's woo. But, that's about it, bro. And then, unfortunately, again, it's that unicorn in the room. But to the statistic of your topic, I'm going to do a video on this. It's about the ultra wealthy people in America. They're still living like the 1950s. They're really the only people that are having this lifestyle that everybody wants, where, oh, the husband works and the wife, stays at home and watches TV and eats bonbons and shops all day, to where it's actually sustainable. Only the ultra rich are doing it, right? Even upper middle class, it's got to be two incomes. So it's a lot of
Yeah.
stuff that's changed. Even with like now, like Rogish said, welcome to the future. 20 years ago, and this is just 20 years, we crossed the Y2K, right? The end of the world. And I'm going to talk about that on my stream later, the ends of the worlds. But it was the end of the world as we knew it. 20 years ago, you couldn't see somebody with blue hair being the staple of something. Today, we have all over the internet a bunch of, young white guys who play video games with bright blue hair. And those are the people of whom, like, people are listening to. Like, the kids are listening to Blue Hair Man for finance tips, not just,
Right.
the best hack on World of Warcraft, right? So it's a completely different world that we're in today. And
What do people seem tied into how things are going? It's basically they're indigitizing their reality. And I mean, when you look at what the nature of women have always been to submit to the environment, how would they readily submit to a digitized environment versus a non-digitized one? What do they do as far as it goes with their imagery and everything within a non-digitized environment? All right, well, when they get digitized, they're just going to have a greater access of altering their image based off of what is considered to be the standard, and they are never their own standard. And that's the issue. You know what I'm saying? Like the black woman was never her own standard, and when she attempted to make herself her own standard, she did so in the framework of a white chick. It's like, all right, wait.
Yeah, it can come that way to most, but even with the women, it gets to a point to where the certain type of woman that stood her ground and stayed on her square, mostly with the natural chicks.
Mhm.
They didn't go with the blonde hair, style of frame of the, so-called woman that's supposed to be running things. They didn't go with the shaping of the nose and trying to suppress their big butts. Hey, let it go. Hey,
Yeah,
it's
but
big,
they ain't let the feminism go though. They stayed their natural self was still was still
but
just
that's
a strong feminist.
but that's to a degree with most of those chicks, because all of them didn't cross over. The ones that
Well, I'm
didn't
not
cross over, they got shunned.
I'm not speaking political feminists.
Yeah,
I'm when I say feminist, basically I'm speaking of I just assume any black chick that holds any element of misandric view. I just want them as all right, it's, feminism. It is what it is. Even if it ain't, I mean, I'm just going to grant it that because don't hate the player, play the game. Big bank take little bank. That's a big ass bank, man. And when you start
yeah.
seeing its influence wherever it is, even though it might not be directly there, okay, that's what it is. You know what I mean? So let's say that the black women of the conscious community, we'll say that was the upmost top of it. You know what I'm saying? The Erica Badu do. See what I'm talking about? And not just her, but I'm saying, just let's say that's just the top peak of it. Did you still have to deal with some element of marginalizing the value, the social value of a man? And you still had to deal with that. And it's like, all right, then, well, okay. That means that this is much, much deeper than just them selecting to view themselves in the valuable light, because the valuable light seems to be tied into largely what the system permits. Okay, so if the system permitting your access, then that means to a woman, it's going to permit her value. You know what I'm saying? Like they say, women, we for our love language, their love is material. Our love is respect, right? So where are they getting their most material from? You know what I'm saying? What and now that everything has become material to them, you got to be able to do this. You got to be able to buy me this. 6 figures, 6 feet, six all this. It's like, all right, bitch, you just want to be served 24/7. You know what I'm saying? Ain't nothing wrong with that, but what are you doing to earn it? You don't think you got to earn being served? Even
Yeah.
even if I, you know what I'm saying, I'm holding, you know what I'm saying, long logging over here, ho. What makes you think you worthy? I
It
hold
it
some
it
value to my dick, bitch. Wait a minute. You just
it it's big because it gets to a point when you start doing the talks and listening to the things what the women say, like, I'm not doing this for no man. I gotta see the ring and this and that. Well, that means I shouldn't pay bills in this house. I shouldn't do nothing until I give you the ring. Then that's when the standard comes.
huh.
If you're not presenting yourself as a wife, why should I marry a fairy tale that doesn't exist, that might not ever happen? That's the
Because
thing with men. You know, we pay the bills. We're showing you the position. If you were married to me, I will be paying the bills. I will be running things in the house. I'll be fixing stuff. But a woman says I can't cook for a man because, he's not my husband. Well, I'll never be your husband because
That
if
means
you
I
do it
can't
that way.
cook is really what that means.
Oh, probably. Hey,
that
I
means
Well,
mean,
no,
that means I'm gonna be 200 pounds heavier in about 6 years.
well, here's what it is, right? Especially in our community, because both sides do this, right? Men and women. Women, oh, I don't, I can't, be giving you the wifely duties and cook and clean for you. But you could bust all in my jibs, that's all right. You could put 3 kids in me. That's not consistent of a wife. That's not wifely duties, right? And just like a guy, man, I don't know if I could spend the rest of my life with it, but I could bust all in the jibs and make sure that I'm beholden to her by the state for at least 18, 24 years. But, actually
But,
putting a ring on it and
but see,
getting a contract and
that's not how
I'm sorry, go ahead.
that's not how she's connected to her inner value. So of course she can let you bust in the jibs. You know what I'm saying? Nappy dug out, all rug out. You know what I'm talking about? Oh, yeah, she can let you do that because that's her raffle ticket in the words of in the words of Red Fox. So she's not connected to it. It's not as precious to her as it is to you. You know what I'm saying? We naturally project the preciousness of, you know what I'm saying, upon them that they won't project upon themselves unless they have some type of material acquisition or something like that. Now there's somebody. All right, then. Well, you're only somebody to the point to where you're showing this, having acquired all this, to whom, to what. So when they show it, the black men is something that they compete with. Look at what I've gotten. Look at what I'm able to acquire. All right, so it's something that you're competing with. Well, and also to your sisters, then it's also something you're competing with. All right. Well, wait a minute. Who else are you connected to? What about your family? Is it something that your family can benefit from? All of, you know what I'm saying? All of this greater amount of money, this greater amount of social navigation, political acquisition, all of that. Who the fuck is benefiting? The children, her children ain't benefiting. Her community ain't benefiting. You know what I'm saying? Look, these women belong to the system when you get into that degree, right? And only those who have shown and expressed themselves as having particularly that traditional quality is of it. All the rest of them, they belong to the matrix.
yeah, what's going on? Bitter Truth in the building. My bad. Yeah, we got Spot. I seen him earlier. But I mean, it comes down to this big issue. Even get back into the blue hair dudes. You dress to impress. There's no way I'm gonna take no man with blue hair serious. Financially, he could be a guru. I'm looking at the clowns. I'm seeing clown like features. I just can't do it. Like that guy who AM got into it with, and I heard the dude burnt AM just blasting him.
Mhm.
But at the end of the day, I can't take you serious because you got blue hair. You don't even take yourself serious.
But wait a
You
minute.
know,
Okay. Okay. So
even
is this
blonde
is this
hair
a
black
brother?
dudes. Come on,
Is this a
nah, this a
brother
white dude.
or okay? This is a
White
pilgrim.
dude.
Okay. All right. So
Yeah,
so
but
you know what the hair color thing means to pilgrims, right? Like they believe that it changes elements of their character. I don't know. I maybe it
it
do
do.
with it maybe it do with them. I don't know, but
What you do? Unlock his sonic speed or some shit?
I don't know, cuz look,
But
that whole blondes have more fun, and then they start rating each other based off of that hair. Brunettes are like this, blondes are like this. I don't know whatever color else they got, you know what I'm
yeah,
saying? In their
because
hair or whatever.
even my son, man, I told him I was like, dude, ain't nowhere in the world, because he see the kids with the dreads and the tips and like different colors in their hair. I'm like, nah, bro, I'm not walking around with no clown. Dude, I said, when you turn 18, you can get all the color in your head if you want. Until then, I'm not walking around with Krusty or Sideshow Bob. And
And
so
they
after that, by the time he turned 18, he never got
right.
his hair colored. I gave him that standard and he stood with it.
And they all want their locks colored too. And I wonder how y'all
Yeah,
fall for
yeah.
that shit. All y'all new fake ass hip hoppers. Y'all not hip hoppers. You motherfuckers are some punk rockers. They tried to say it's hip hop. Get the fuck out of here.
Catherine and friends, what's going on? Boss lady Denise. But it gets to that point, the influence. And
Yeah.
that's what I was, saying about with that lady. She thinking that society is embracing her by wearing these clothes like this. So that's why she's wearing it. And it doesn't matter what her man thinks, because you met me looking like this. And I know I met you looking like this. You might be the hottest woman, this and that I've ever been with or something, but it gets to a point of, do you even have respect for yourself? Let alone have a respect for me, because you're wearing these revealing clothes. Over time you about to be the grandma, or you know it's cool. Some grandmas, they look good, they be in their 50s and 60s and whatever on, and
Right.
they wearing the little skinny jeans because they keep their body up. But
Mm-hmm.
then it gets to a point where too revealing is just too revealing.
I mean, well, the
And
thing is,
it sets a standard.
the thing is, sexy is considered a mild social dynamic as opposed to something that is personal. Again, one of the advents of feminism. You know what I'm saying? The distortion of how they present themselves to the community as they become attached to another one, and it's like, all right, well, that attachment don't mean nothing because they're never in representation of the ones who they're with. I mean, no fault divorce to prove that shit. You feel me? But also, the fact how they present. You know what I'm saying? It's all about me. INDENPNT, all that other shit, right? Well, independent from a man, independent from the children, and independent from our own actual value, and understanding what it is that she represents as they present themselves. Now, I can understand if they just, like you say with the teacher bay chick. You know what I'm talking about? Hey, her body. If she got a body that just won't quit, with no matter what she does, then it is what it is. You know what I'm talking about? Um, it is what it is.
But I,
Because if most black women, y'all gotta understand something. There's a reason why most black women is big than a motherfucker. Because most black women actually got the potential to be motherfucking brick than a motherfucker. Okay, most black women got the potential to be brick houses, cuz we're talking, yeah, a plentiful woman, not an ounce of fat on her, and just bubbly in all the right places, but a lot more of it. You feel me? Um, but the thing is, they operate under the baller belly status. You know what I'm saying? They under these pilgrims program, and so however these pilgrims is letting them eat, that's how they're going to eat. That's how they're going to consume, and they're comfortable.
but this is another standpoint too, and they didn't talk about this on the podcast, but I look at it like this: should that man leave that woman because of the way she looked, and she don't want to change?
If it's deemed of value, and if they can acknowledge how much their aesthetics are of value to us, and not just based off of no ego shit. We're just talking off of just genetics. You know what I'm saying? What it means for us to be the type of human beings that we are. So it's like, all right, well,
Conscious.
that plays a part. I mean, you ain't gonna not see, you ain't gonna see me, see my eye inadvertently, on the peripheral catching a PYT here and there. You know what I'm talking about? Because I am a man. And beauty does what beauty does, no matter, what age we are in life. If you encounter beauty, you're going to, respond to it as is. So it's like, all right, then, baby, do whatever it takes to keep you naturally beautiful. And but for that, I mean, that's not the type of effort that they seem that they want to put in, unless it's something that usually, you know what I'm saying, is drastic. You know what I'm saying? Then when they do put in for it, then it turns into some ego shit, right? Or, you know, send a lot, you know, shout out to what's this, Kendrick, uh, sister Kendrick D. You can tell, you know, sister within the nation, and you can tell that she takes care of herself as she is dressed oh so respectively, and she still eludes an element of attractiveness to her, right? Completely,
Yeah.
completely clothed. And
Hmm.
so it's possible. Not saying that, you know what I'm saying, women got to take that degree to where you're always completely clothed. But if you naturally get yourself there, everything that you put on is going to be alluring. You don't have to set out with an intention to allure, motherfucker.
Yeah, I mean, with Catherine, I'm gonna speak on this. I talked about this earlier on both sides because, it comes to a point where we was talking about the unicorn, the women having the unicorn of a man who's perfect for the six figures, all the money. And I'm gonna probably, like I said, share that video later when I get off of here about Carlos Miller when he was on the Big Facts podcast, and he was
Right.
saying how, the woman wants a man with all this. And then I'm looking at it, I say he's right because he was, quoting a lot of stuff that Samuels talked about a woman being the size of a man. But then you look at the other aspect of it when the men are doing the same thing. The men that want these unicorns too. They're looking for women that are so submissive and this. I mean, I've never seen no woman just outright be submissive to a man from the jump. I mean, there's instances where women would say, "Well, I've been trained this way, or my parents raised me this way to a degree," and it comes a line of respect. I mean, just like that man respects that woman when he gets with her, she's gonna give that respect too. Now, when the submissiveness lies, it's subjective depending on the person, and from that point on. But you know, the men wanting women to be a certain way, it's just not like when I hear some of these guys talk about women, I'm like, some of this stuff is fairy tale. I run the house like me and my wife. It's to a standard. I'm not gonna sit here and say I run the house 100%. There are instances where, like the burglar, everybody knows when a burglar comes in, the husband go downstairs and he take care of business. A comedian said it best. He said if that's the case, if we doing this whole 50-50 stands, I go grab two 9 millimeters and we go down. No, it was Gold P said it. Gold P say, if we doing 50-50, I go downstairs, you go downstairs, we both go together. We both got 9 millimeters. And when the robber comes in, I shoot him in one kneecap, you shoot him in the other. That's 50-50 submissive right there. I mean, they doing it together. Everything's
That's true.
100,
Yeah.
you know. And when it comes down to that point, there are certain things that a man is gonna do that a woman is not gonna do. So in that standpoint, you looking at it from that point, there are certain things that man, it's general. I mean, generalizing it, whether you like it or not, there are certain roles that men and women play different in their parts in a relationship. And then there's things like, like I say with my wife. My wife, she take care of things, she cook, she clean, but I also do the same. The other day I stayed up to 2 o'clock last week washing clothes because my wife came home. She was tired, she went to bed early. And I'm like, dang, she ain't washed none of my uniforms. So
Mhm.
I didn't say, hey, woman, get up. Get in there and wash them clothes now before it be a problem. I washed the clothes myself. It wasn't a big deal.
Right.
You know, some in the bathroom might be dirty. I'd be like, man, let me just go ahead and wipe this toilet or mop this floor or something real quick. It's not a big deal for me to do. That's why I'm looking at guys when they constantly say that, man, the women should be doing this, the women should be doing that. What were you doing before you met this woman? That's why I hear
Yeah.
guys like, man, I need a
Yeah.
woman that knows how to cook. Were you cooking before? How can you ask something for a woman that you can't do for yourself? So that begs a different, like,
I mean, but also
who are you looking?
that could be a talking point as well, though. You got to understand something. You know what I'm saying? Like
Yeah,
you also remember the way that the Black Manosphere has created, developed, or shifted, developed, and progressed the element of red pill uh, perspective and ideology. it's been galvanized. So now it can be used this game. Hence, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Modern man, modern woman, what you bring to the table. All that was birthed in our area of the space. So
Yeah.
yeah, folks are gonna use it like that simply because it's something that they know they can win an argument with, as opposed to, you know what I'm saying, actually efforting and doing what it takes to understand how, what it takes to live with a woman. You know what I'm saying? Let alone marriage, let alone let alone relationship, let alone marriage. You know what I'm saying? And let alone possibly a divorce to move into a possibly another marriage, right? Some of these cats ain't lived, man. And you know what I'm saying, the fucking, yeah, basically y'all done became a game. Y'all done became a element of the game y'all self, and still not, you know what I'm saying, identifying that. But you still got motherfuckers who know how to see a good system when they see one, and they can run with it. You know, shout out Pearly.
But see, that's the thing though. It's like a lot of guys don't
Shout
even
out Pearl.
like. You don't even have that archetype. Hey man, Pearl, that girl, she
She doing what
hard.
she does. She doing what she do.
Yeah, cause I mean, this the thing. You selling me the story of women being a certain way, and you not married. And that's kind of like what even with Kevin, even the things he came to the space with. I didn't like the whole high value man thing because now you're telling dudes that they're a trick bag. They have to spend money to play. They have to literally be a man of so much money that he can bring to the table. It makes the woman has no option but to be with him, and she's gonna accept you cheating because you got money.
Right.
That's fairy tale. I always just like didn't agree with that. Even the whole thing of him changing the narrative of what a high value man was. A high value man was always a man who brought character in the space. Like my granddad, he was a high value, even though he was a pastor, the thing of him being a high value man because he did certain things in the community, not asking for money. He just did it because he's a man of some type of substance and he brought things into, that was high value.
Yeah.
Not me bringing my wallet to the table is high. I mean, anybody can get money. I can go get a loan for $1 million and then I could be of high value. Then he has a standard. You have to be high value for 10 years. I can go get a loan or something and get property, hold it for 10 years, and
Yeah.
it's worth that $1 million. Hey, even with Alonzo, I get a life insurance policy. Hold that life insurance policy for the 10-year standard. And just because I make that 10 year that $1 million threshold, then I'm high value, or I think it's 100,000. But then
Right.
I'm already high value because I didn't have my life insurance for the past 6-8 years. I'm already high value. I got $100,000 in life insurance. But I mean, it's funny like that.
Actually,
Stuff of that
yeah.
point, because if we want to go from that standard, the standard of having over 100,000, that's how I've achieved that. So that means from his standard, I'm high value.
Hmm.
And even the whole point of the career and making the money, it gets diluted because you know men in this space, trust me, if they want to be married, they will go with a married man at because not all relationships are going to be the same. But at the point of it is, you're going to learn something from this guy, learn something from this guy. That's how I got married. I learned something from
Oh,
my
they yoink
cousin
through.
who was married. Oh man, can y'all hear me?
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Yoink for a
Okay,
minute.
good. Yeah,
Yeah,
I
we can
learned.
hear you.
Yeah, I might go ahead and jump off here in a minute because Absalon he live, so I might have to drop his channel over there so we can go over there.
That's
Where
to
the
the
hell is
plan.
my? Oh, we talking about the missing kids in Cleveland. Yeah, I heard about that story, man. It's crazy.
What happened?
It's like 30 kids missing in Cleveland.
Oh
Oh,
shit.
wow.
Yeah,
Mm. Shit, check
but
Atlanta.
I
That's
mean,
where that's where they all ending up at when they find it. Atlanta and Tennessee. Or Georgia and Tennessee, and it's like, yo, what the fuck are they doing out there?
man,
Trafficking.
Yeah,
yeah, it's crazy out here. That's why, man.
Crazy.
It used to be to the point where kids, we used to walk to the store by ourselves. I would never let
Mm-mm.
my daughter. I would never let my daughter do anything. Like I'm terrified of my cousin. She's 19 years old.
Yeah.
I be terrified of her when she go to work in the morning sometimes because her mom don't got a car and she go catch the bus.
Yeah.
I'm terrified of
Mm,
her catching the bus. Like, dude, she a pretty looking girl. Man, I don't want nothing to happen to her. But it's just like the
yeah.
times we living in, and most of the time she'll just go ahead and get an Uber in the morning and catch the bus in the afternoon. Like my aunt was literally about to fight these guys because the dude said my cousin had a fat butt, and then turned around. My aunt was like, that's kind of disrespectful, this and that. He was like, man,
Mhm.
that's my daughter. And he was like, well, you got one too then. I'm like, well, damn,
Yeah.
okay, well,
Damn.
say it
Wow.
with your chest. Say it
Damn.
with your chest. You no respect for the elders. No
Yeah.
respect for them. Just say it with your chest then.
Damn.
And it gets to that point, like people act like that, and you literally have
Damn.
to would have a elder come in, that's a man to say, hey, dude, that's disrespectful, man. Don't talk to them women like that.
Hey,
But for the dude just to even give a care about it. But
look,
other than that, man, it's crazy.
if we're going back to frontier justice, then all right, I'm all for it. But on that note, you said you finna mash out. I holler at y'all on the flip. Let's see what Bianchi up to. Yo, respect respect Alonzo. You know what I'm saying? Holler at y'all.
No doubt.
All right.
All
And I'm going
right.
to say something about this with Catherine. Yeah, I mean, the whole 50-50 and the 60-40, when it comes down to it, I think as a man, you should, be in a standpoint to pay as much as you can because when it basically comes nowadays, the ball is switched. Women are making more money than men, but because the woman makes more money than men, should she run the house? Would you take that power from that man because of that? And that's the thing that's kind of funny because the position most women are in, they are in a position to make more money than men. Would that man still have that same role as being the leader, protector, and the provider at the house without making all of the money, the necessary money? And that's the thing where we got to have that conversation because in most instances, most of these guys can't get to that point to where they can make that money because of either past issues of jail or just in general, nobody wants to hire. And that's
Right.
the thing where you got to start setting your career to the point where going back to school. A lot of guys they don't want to do certain jobs, but certain jobs are needed and certain jobs pay. I say it all the time. Truck driving, that was a way for me to get out of the moving business. You
Right.
know, I would still be in the moving business if I didn't have my young boys. I would still be in the moving business making a ton of money, but I had to start looking at my health, hurting my back or something, and then turn
Mm,
around looking at the issue of me being away from my kids. So that what
right.
made me change careers and better. But how many men can do that on the fly and still be okay? Sometimes I work
Not
two
too
jobs,
many.
but the point of it is I get to have that time at home with my kids.
Right. See, that's the thing, right? And like you said, I think a lot of it comes from men do need, even especially in this space, men like us who are married, right, to give a different perspective. Because the perspective right now, like you said, is a lot of dudes who are single and and or single and bitter, like recently divorced, right? And that's just like they say, the bitter bronze brigade, right? Well, you can't get good relationship advice from unhappy women. Well, the same thing comes from unhappy men. If we're bitter, we're gonna give salty advice to the younger men. So, a lot of those guys got to start looking if they serious about getting wives and stuff. In places where, like you said, those men are. Um, and the major issue is even in that, a lot of guys are unhappy where they are because they did it for the wrong premise. Dudes went and got married because, back in 1992, she had a fat butt, but now in 2022, well, her body's changed. It's 30 years later, right? So there was never any relationship there. People get frustrated with each other and they, you hear people like fighting at each other and arguing at each other and stuff. And that's not, what people's relationship should be about either. And again, it does come down to appearance, right? But even when it comes down to appearance, You have to look deeper into it because just because of someone's outward appearance, for example, their dress, doesn't mean that the relationship is healthy, right? So I'll give you an example of that. Jay Z and Beyonce look like they have a healthy relationship, even though they dress well, right? They dress in obviously, expensive clothes, so on and so forth, but they also have a healthy, stable relationship, right? Where, it seems like there's a solid foundation, right? Now, if you look at somebody like, let's say, Chris Brown, right? He's probably going to have whatever lady he's with, she's going to be decked out and fly, but it's not going to be at a point where, they're actually happy with each other, right? So they're going to be in a position where, he's cheating on her, she's mad at him, or what's that? Lil baby, whichever one of them baby boys kicked his wife out while she was pregnant, and then she called the cops on him, right? So things like that. And I think places like us, like people like you, people like me, are actually able to kind of help guys guide themselves to a better predicament. You know what I mean? Even little stuff like you said, with high value, getting life insurance. I did earlier today, I did a second string where I was talking about, because Good Morning America actually did that. And one of the funny things in the video, it's about it says black men and life insurance, and it's telling black men to invest in life insurance. And the woman who started it was like, listen, black men, we need you, we love you. I just wanted y'all to know that, because often there is this narrative that it's not there, especially in this space. We talk a lot about a website called Black Demographics, but Black demographics and demographics as a total shows that this gender war is almost pointless. There's very few people in most communities who are not race loyal, right? So it's not as big of an issue as it seems to be, as it's being made out to be. But I think the dress does have a lot to do with that. Like you said, sometimes a guy might have allow his lady to dress a certain way, or might not mind that his lady dresses a certain way, but it gives off a certain image. And like you said, dudes are disrespectful. Dude might run up, hey girl, blah 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 blah. I mean, like Rodish said, we're all, men, right? So we're gonna see something and look. And now not everybody's gonna be super disrespectful. Damn, but some people will. But I'll go ahead and stop there. You know my thing, wipe ass, work in progress every day and see success. When people challenge you, they don't challenge you to challenge you, but they challenge you to challenge you. I'll go ahead and sign off there and hop over to AP.
Okay. You got. I know. Too Raw. He was trying to come up, but I'm gonna tell him he might gotta go over to Absalon. I'm
All
gonna see if
right.
Absalon drop the channel too. I'm gonna see. I probably wait a little bit because Absalon ain't started his stream yet.
All right,
But
then I'm here with you. If you want to bring on to
yeah,
Raw, because he one of us, man.
yeah. And shout out to Red Lipstick Vibe. Man, her channel was great, man. I ain't been over there in a minute, man. I just been up and down on Fridays, and then I see she go during the week. Um, he say, she say, be over there. The family, I be over there watching their channel and stuff. They been doing it up, and Two Raw just stepped in the building. But like I say, man, it comes to a point that situation with that woman dressing like that, it just a reflection of that guy, and the same rule apply for the man carrying himself a certain way as a reflection on that woman. And even when we talk about this whole thing with the unicorn relationship, to where dudes and women are looking for, like, I mean, I don't understand. Like, what are you looking for in a woman? Like, these standards are just too wild. Like I said, in Atlanta, I would say it is easily. 21-1 far as the women, in the men ratio, because you got the people that, like Roger said, the guys who might be special needs, the guy who might have crossed the fence over to the other side, playing for the same team. So like the pool, and then let alone, that's not even talking about a good woman. I mean, a good the pool for a good dude. I mean, say the least, any dude, you'd be like, man, yeah, I got this chick, man, she cool, and man, she love me, she pay my bills. Like one chick, it was crazy. I seen the lady say, man, this dude, I paid his rent, and he still cheated on me and had a baby with another chick. They wasn't even staying together. He had his
Mm,
own separate spot. She had her separate spot. But I guess it's to the point where like they was getting serious, but they didn't stay together. Dude lost his
wow.
job or something like that, whatever the degree, and she paid his rent, and then he had to come tell her like a couple of months or so, or a couple of weeks or so later, he think he got a chick pregnant.
Dang.
Yeah, I mean
That's funny.
it's totally crazy. What's going on, Bruce? Bruce Gas boxing and jazz? What's going on? But I mean, it gets to that point to where it's an issue within a lot of us, dealing with these situations like that. You're not
Yeah.
gonna find the perfect woman. Yeah, I mean, honestly speaking, most guys, man, I get this, and I like this, and you can choose that. And I always say this: my 10 is my 10. Your 10 is your 10. Your 10 is a reflection of the type of woman that you pick for yourself. My 10 is the type of woman, that a reflection that I pick for myself. I always tell people, I say, that Kevin always said that who her name? Rihanna? Rihanna was a 10. In my opinion, Kelly was the 10. Rihanna was the 8. Same thing with Beyonce. Beyonce, she's good looking, but you know, I like other features for her. I mean, to be honest, I mean you take
Yeah, I'm with
them
Kevin
off,
on Kelly Rowland over Beyonce.
yeah. I mean, even I'm with Kelly Rowland over Rihanna too. You know,
Yeah,
and
I don't remember that, but yeah, I think I get Kelly Rowland over Rihanna too.
yeah, I mean, even if you want to go from that standard, hey, I bust that whole scale up and put Takora on there from Next Top Model. Because that was like I told with Callie Pouback when she was on my channel, we was talking. I've always dated taller women, thicker women, but I ended up marrying my wife who's short and she's petite. She's not petite no more, but at the same time, she's not big. She just have a little weight on her. When I first met my wife, she probably was like what one, maybe 120 something, and no, like probably like less than 120. I think she was less than 120 when I first met her, and then she gained weight. Then she gained a little weight. Then she lost it. Gained a little weight and lost it. Women weight go up and down anyway. But say the least, she 5'4". I'm 6. She 5'4", and I'm 275. She won, I think 130 something now, probably. I think last time she went to the doctor, she was like 130, going almost hitting 140. And she was like, I gotta lose weight. I don't like this. I don't like this weight on me. And we working it out, doing it together. We eating right. We both doing it together, losing the weight. But that's the thing, having that conversation. I've always told dudes, if I had a woman that was big and dudes complain about big women, help her lose weight. Take her to. I got a partner. He did that with his girl. This dude, he is in physically shape. Like, dude is 38 years old, ripped up, ripped up for a 38-year-old dude. Because his metabolism don't even gain no weight like that. But I mean, it's literally crazy how ripped this guy is. And then he was dating the big chick. I mean, he's still with her. But the thing of it is, she lost so much weight, dude, you wouldn't even recognize her because he was like, man, shoot, I like her, I want to be with her, but I don't like her, her health like this. It ain't even the point that she just big. He don't like her being big. It's the health aspect. So he was like, man, I got to get her to lose weight to, help herself out. So that's what he did. Got her in the gym, He start going and do the walks with her. She's doing the walks with him. She's eating right. They eating a lot more healthy. Cutting down on her portions on eating. Because like I said about that woman who was dressing revealing, all it takes is to get somebody to put you in the mind frame to change, then you change. It's for the better. So why not? You know? And that's why I was telling y'all with this challenge, we know here for the grind challenge. Basically a
Yes, sir.
form of us getting together as a friendly competition to, check each one another. That's why I was telling underrated. Start hashtagging. Start putting this up here for the grind. Man, when I first came over to underrated channel, he did the boxing and stuff, but the number one thing that underrated used to do, and I haven't seen him do too much of, when he do his underrated out and about or in the streets. Underrated
Yeah,
will walk to the store, walk to the grocery store, do all this walking. I'm talking about just hella walking,
yeah, true that.
and he hasn't been doing it as much. And I'm like, dude, that's how you kept your health and your shape, man. You staying in shape, walking and stuff. That's good for you. Like with me,
Yeah,
that's why I say every once in a while I get into I start want to work out and get myself together. But the point of it is, like I say, it's me. I'm just too big. I need to lose the weight. Yeah. The thing is, it creep up on you before you know it. Like I used to always go step on the scale. I say, man, I literally probably for almost 10 years, I never got over 250.
mm,
The last 2 years, this when I hit 275. I lost that weight down, got to like 258, I think 258 or something, 255. Then I gained that weight back when I went and did my
see,
deal. That's the only way I know. Like I do my DOT physical, and that's
mm-hmm.
like every 2 years, and that's the only time I really check my weight until I start doing more checkups. Cause my wife, dealing with her job, she gets cheaper insurance if we do checkups. So now I'm constantly on my checkups every year now. That's how I'm starting to
Yeah,
keep track of my weight, keep track of my health and stuff like that. And that's the big thing. A lot of us we don't take that stuff serious, man. Our health, like especially as men, we wait till something either breaks off, get bad, and then we want to say, man, I gotta eat healthy and I gotta do right. Can we do that
yeah,
before? I know I gotta lose weight. I shouldn't have to wait to go to the doctor and they tell me, man, you getting too big. I need to start doing it for myself now. That's why I try
yeah,
to motivate most of these guys to do now. Hey man, don't just wait till somebody tell you got diabetes. Nah, start
yeah.
cutting out the sugar now.
And
Start eating right
another
now.
thing, real quick, and anybody could do this. You could do this literally starting today, and it will help in terms of brain clarity and like helping you because they say that your stomach is your second brain, and they say that your gut health is really how your whole body functions. If your stomach is messed up, your brain is messed up, and you can't function right, right? So one thing that you can do is every morning, first thing when you wake up, you want to alkalinize your system. So how do you do that? You take in some apple cider vinegar, like two teaspoons, and then you take like a lemon juice, like 2 teaspoons or 2 tablespoons, and you put it in like 8 ounces of water. Mix that and drink it down before you eat anything, before you brush your teeth, anything. And it's supposed to actually help with your health. Too raw, what's going on, brother?
What's good? What's good, man?
Sitting up here chilling, man. Husbands united. We trying to teach these young brothers, man. Listen, we can't always, and you already gonna agree because you hard on them hoes and them on them hoes. I mean the bros who be out here, half stepping. You know what I'm saying? You be like, listen, man, it might be something wrong with the women, but you call yourself
Hey,
the king, so I ain't looking at her. I'm looking at the boss. You the boss, right?
hey,
All right,
man.
get your workings in
Hey,
order.
why am I known for that, bro? Like, hey, man, like, hey,
Ain't nothing wrong
them
with that.
boys, they are. Hey, it's all good. That was funny though. I ain't see that coming though, man. But I've been alright, bro. I've been chilling, man. coming through, showing
That's
my
what's up.
brother shit some love out here in these streets. So what we were talking about? I just got on, man. Like not too long ago. I seen
I
y'all
mean,
talking.
we
I
just
had to
kind
show
of
love.
open right now. We just kind of, we was
Yeah,
breaking down some things in terms of, men's advocacy, the health, right? Because one of the things, I always talk about money, but obviously we got to be healthy too, right? Because you got to be alive to spend your money, right? And
Right.
then we were also talking about in terms of relationships, right? Where there's a lot of this, I guess you could say unicornism, right? Yes, some of our women have some crazy unrealistic standards. I get it. And they don't even adhere to them most of the time, right? They need the 6'6" guy with the six pack and $6 million, but they end up sleeping with Dimebag Daryl and having his baby. So the standards that they set aren't always there. Now there are reasons behind that, right? A lot of that has to come from
You said Dimebag Daryl. That's the one that be with Ray Ray and Pookie, you
yes.
I had to throw that in the punchline. My bad.
That's all good. But we got to look at stuff like in this space, right? We have
Right.
from the men, we have some double things, right? Women, you got to marry before you carry, but then we turn around pumping and dumping. So if I'm pumping and dumping, how am I having her married before she carries, right? And then like, remember that guy who came around and was like, he got 7 baby mamas, but he ain't dealing with the kids because, he told them all he ain't want them, and right? And a lot of guys was like, well, see, these women, nope. What has to happen in those situations is we got to cut off the cancer. We got to blame him, right? Why do we have to blame him? Because the women are only going to follow suit to what they see the men accepting, right? So they gonna follow suit to what they see the men accepting, and then the younger men, that's what it's about, are gonna
yeah,
see, hey, listen, you know what? I don't want to be an upstanding guy because the upstanding guys ain't getting no action, and the guys who ain't getting no action are praising the same guys that they're upset about.
Is it a lot?
You see what I'm saying?
Yeah,
They're happy
that's what
that
you're
these
saying.
dudes is smashing 7 baby mamas, and oh, see, they didn't make the right decision sleeping with a dude like him. Well, we didn't make the right decision associating with a dude like him. Because if I'm in the streets and you can't take and you ain't down to take care of your seed, that means when the ops come, you ain't down to look out for me.
Right.
You know? For
Heck
real.
yeah.
Because if you can look out for your own seed, then what you gonna do when it's, the cartel coming at me? You putting me under the bus. I ain't got time for that.
Yeah. I feel what you're saying. So like today I did a lot of day and I was telling people today, like I heard this man like he was talking at the truck stop or whatever, and he was like old man too. So he was just telling somebody, he was like, man, if you take a fish out of water and just throw him on the land, he gonna get the flopper. You gonna be like, that's a sorry ass fish. Like he's sorry as hell. Like, but if you kick him back in that water, he gonna take off and you be like, dang. You know what I'm saying? Like he back in his element. So when he said that, like I got the ride and I was thinking, I was like, damn, I say like that's probably what's wrong with like the black men and the black family, the black women too. Like we got took out. We that fish that got took out our environment because we don't come from savagery. Like we not savages. We was kings and queens, and we had like we come from like royalty and morals and respect. Like we stood on principles, everything. You know what I'm saying? Like it's like they like people strip that away from us, and now we is that fish that's outside that's flopping on the ground. And while we flopping on the ground, thinking we living our best life out here, right? Like while we flopping further and further away from the water to get back in there to be like the people who we once was. You know what I'm saying?
tell my
It's
son
like
I
it's like
try to
it's
go
like
back
it's like we
to
out
them
that
days.
water,
I
bro.
thought
Like we
I
need to get
heard it
back in that
before.
water. Like you feel me? Like then black like that'll
I
be
like
like
that.
black women and men, they'll get back to our environment. We can take off and be great. You know what I'm saying? But while we flapping on land, we sorry as hell, just like that sorry fish flapping out on the land. But like I say, we out here flapping and jumping up and down, living our best life, but we getting further and further away from that water. We ain't getting no closer. So yeah, I was telling people about that today. Like, man, it's crazy, bro.
All right,
So
cool.
I just I feel like we just all out of our environment right now. So that's why we don't got no peace in the black household for real, for real.
So with that, what do you think we could do to start going back in the toward the
Yeah, 'cause
water,
that's a Samsung.
right?
Like
The
Because
people
these
I
that
don't even think enough of us
Samsung.
notice that we're
I
going
couldn't
away
find
from
it
it.
earlier, and then I
the people
figured out what
who
it was
like
and said it.
we can be
Yeah,
the people who know better, who know what's going on. All we can do is try to kick them back closer to the water. Like why
yeah.
they flapping,
You send it to me.
you know what I'm
I
saying?
go ahead
That's
and
all we
hit
can do
old
is try
boy
to
up,
kick
and
them
then
back,
I order one
kick them
for you
back to
too.
the water type shit, bro. We can't just let them just flap away from it and see them flapping away from the water. You know what I'm saying? We gotta try to get them back in there,
All
kick them
right.
back towards that water.
Got you. Now that make a whole lot of sense, man. And like you said, we are out of our
So
element, but it seemed like
yeah,
some of us are going, hey,
they
let me
broke.
push you back toward the water, and the ones that we trying to push back to the water, are like, hell no, man, I'm out here flapping around living my best life.
Yeah.
I want to go back to that water, and that
And then
seems
the
to be where
crabs
the
move in.
disconnect is.
The crabs move in and start grabbing the fish and
A
running them all
motherfucker
type of
probably
ways,
dry
eating them
ride it.
up. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
Probably dry ride it.
big facts. And
For
that's
real,
what
bro. Like, yeah, we just gotta
Yeah.
be better as people, bro. That's it.
Uh.
If you know
All
something,
right then.
teach the young cats
Yeah.
that which way to flat back to the water. The ones who found their way back to the water, hey,
Messing around.
we need to
Yeah.
start teaching them kids that swimming around out there. Like, hey man, look here, while you swimming out here, if you ever get caught and
Uh
pulled out
huh.
this water, hey, flap
All
this
right.
way, the water this way. You know what I'm saying? Like, you gotta teach them their way
yeah,
back. The ones who did
teach
get
them
back
their
in
way
that water.
back. And you know what? I'll admit it's crazy, but I think it's only these few generations, right? If you I say if you 33 to about 55, right? In that age range right now, well, probably about 33 to 60 at this point. If you're in that age range, it's kind of these lost generations right now that flop too far away from the water. But I think the kids of the millennials and the zillennials kids, like people from my generation's kids, are gonna be realizing, oh, you know what? Granddad was flopping the wrong way, and great granddad, and so on and so forth. You know, because I think we tried to push each other back in the right direction, but enough of us didn't realize it because, like you said, the crabs coming and grabbing us and dragging us through the mud. But now we able to see that.
Right.
But you got to look at it too from this standpoint. A lot of times in the elders generation, they only did what was fitting to be, because that's what they seen from other families. Like, honestly speaking, you can have a elder that's been doing something for 20 years the wrong way because that was the way he was taught. And then you have a new generation of kids come in and say, well, that what you was doing was okay, but I can do better. I can elevate this, but that elder wants to keep it the same because they feel as if, man, why change up? This the move we've been doing or been had. So why elevate to make something different? Keep it the same.
But
It
why
was
elevate
always.
though? Why should we not do it the same way though? Like, cause some shit was working out when you had them old people like relationships. Women wasn't so disrespectful like they was back in the day, like they is nowadays. Today, like, you know what I'm saying? More families stayed together back in the day. They was doing something right. It's
But
just
you
like
you
the
know
things
why?
that we changed about it, like it
Part of
fucked
that
up the
was
game.
necessity,
Like,
though. We had no other
You
choice.
you know why it changed? It wasn't because, okay, for one, everybody talk about the whole feminist this and that. It was the whole thing that women had more options. And the more options the women had, they didn't have to take certain things from the men. You gotta understand, within the black community back in the day, we was all we had. You know, if a dude came in the neighborhood, and he was on some racist stuff, he can go and snatch majority women and he would have some problems. Nowadays, that same system, he can go in there and snatch women with ease, just like a wolf, because there's no protection amongst men, you know, and that's the
So
whole
you think
thing
women
with
had
the women who
more?
have.
You think women had? Oh, my bad.
I'll just say real
Go
quick,
ahead.
the women who have more option now, they're able to move around different than they was back in the day. They don't have to say,
Oh,
well,
okay.
I'm waiting on my man to come do this. I can do this myself. I don't like I was talking
Right.
about earlier. I said a man can say, man, I want to marry you. You're a beautiful woman. I want to be with you. I'll pay for this. I pay for that. I do this. And a woman can say, well, I don't need you. I can get on IG, shake my butt. I don't have to go out here and sell my body anymore. I can sell it for likes and views and payments from Facebook, YouTube, and all, and fans only. So the rules
Right.
of engagement have changed. So that's why women are changing. It's not to the embarrassment or to diss or discredit women for their ways. That if that's what you choose, that's what you choose. But you got to also live with those consequences that you choose.
Correct. See, I thought you were saying that women had more options back then than they do now. I'm gonna say I thought they got more options now.
Yeah, they got way more options now. But the thing of it
Yeah,
is,
yeah.
it's that the point of reference back then the options were limited. That's why they became in that such good family household because you couldn't go out here and wild out. The women who were promiscuous back in the day, they got shunned out of the community and everybody knew who they was. Nowadays everybody is promiscuous and there's no shunning of that. So everybody,
Right.
like I said, it's harder for a man to find a good woman versus a woman to find a good man. If a woman wants to find a good man, you know what she do? She change her environment. She go to a corporate office. She go to a business. It's not very very much. There's not to a degree a lot of wolves in the corporate field, far as like their mentality, far as their work ethic. Yeah, they're wolves because you have to be a little cutthroat. But far as their mentality is being a person standing on principle, that's what the corporation and all this stuff is built on. Now, with women in that environment, they can put on that same hat of being a great woman, but then automatically turn that off, take that hat off, and get turned on. Popping bottles and all. It is not discredited that men can do the same, but as a man who's in certain environments, you whatever you see, this is 9 times out of 10 what you're gonna get. If he has this
Yeah.
suave debonair about himself, a playboy look, he's a player. You like that look, but he's a player. You're gonna deal with the aspect of him being a player, just like we was talking about earlier about the women who dress provocative, and the men get mad when they get into a full relationship with him. That's the same as that playboy dude who has those brown eyes, light skin, or whatever that a woman likes, and he goes out there and so many women find him desirable. That's that same function. So it's on both ends, but far
See,
as
that's
a
the
man,
thing.
it's harder.
I
So
don't
you
know. That
think
whole
like the
point
modern
didn't get to
woman?
me though. Only because I used to get that all the time, right? That's why I call myself a "Where's my hug at" ass nigga. Because all the time, girls used to, you look like a player, and I used to be like, bro, play who? I'm trying to get with you. And all the chicks used to swear to God I was a player my whole life. So that's why I was like, not a player.
Hey, so do you think like the modern women today, right? Do you think they want a stable relationship with one guy that work a 9 to 5 or a regular dude, or you think they got so many options to the point where they run from submission, like you know what I'm saying? Like they don't want to submit no more, 'cause they feel
They
like they ain't gotta submit to nobody because they can do it on their own or whatever.
actually they do want a stable relationship, but you got to understand it's not even just about the options. It's about the standard. Like I always say, society standard put women in a place to where they don't have to take certain things from a man. They don't have to listen to a man. They don't need his money. Like there's women that say, "Well, I don't need a man to fix my car. That's what a mechanic is for. I don't need a man to fix my house. That's what a handyman is for. I don't need a man to buy a house because I make this type of money." So that elevation of being so independent to where they only need a man at a certain point or a certain aspect in life, and that society puts these women with so many options. They want a man, but society is saying you're much greater than just being with a man. You're I seen this on the same podcast that talk heavy. The dude literally said it almost similar to what Kevin say. Women want to have the dick. Most of those women that move like that, they want to be in the position to hold their nuts to a man and say, "I'm moving like you,"
That's
and
the
that's the
competition.
whole.
Like that's the competition. Like it shouldn't even be that way. Like you know what I'm saying? You play your role, I'm gonna play my role. There's no way that we should be in the competition. 'Cause I done been in relationships before where I had to sit down and tell somebody like, "Hey man, look, you know we on the same damn team. Like you know, hey, like what the hell? Like you acting like we look like I'm an op or something around here. You feel me? Like I done been in relationships like that too, but it just be like on some. It could be like you come to the door on payday, right? You know, made a good pay week. You come in the house happy and you like, what you want to do? Oh, nothing. It's like she wanted to be the one that was making all the money at that one point. Like I was like, damn, like it's
Yeah.
okay for your man to go get that bread too. You know what I'm saying? So I'm like,
Hey,
that competition shit is bad, man, on all different levels. No woman
it's
should try
one.
to be in competition with a man because we are not the same.
Yeah, because even like my friend.
Unfortunately,
Go ahead.
go ahead, Chi.
Now, I was gonna say real quick. My friend, his girlfriend, one day, I told her, I said, man, I had I had quit my little business, so I wasn't working. And my wife sit there and she was like, well, you need to go ahead and start looking for another job. I was like, man, I got some money in savings. I'll do it in a minute. And so I'm like, man, I need to go, give me some bill. So I'm like, let me get $20. Let me get some bill. She was like, I'm like, really? You know? And she like, man, you need to go on and get you another job. He just doing a little press with me. So I said,
But
why are you doing this? I said, is it gonna hurt you to give me $20? I said, I can get the money, but I'm just trying to see where this is headed. So I went on ahead and left. My partner ended up giving me $50, and that same weekend, I got a job offer for one of my other friends, and I got to working with him. Now my wife was in a position to where she didn't work for a whole year. I only didn't work for probably like a couple of months. And I was telling her, like, go get your nails done, go get your hair done, take it out this money and do this. And she was like, I don't want to spend because I don't want you to, we need the money. And I'm like, look, I'm giving you the money like this for a reason. But then I told her, I say, remember, you don't want to give me $20, but I'm giving you over $150 to get your hair and nails done. I say, you see how ironic that is? Me
see,
as a
sometimes
man,
they be guilty. They be that little guilty conscience they be having. They be like, they don't want to take it because they know how they did you. You know what I'm
yeah,
saying? So I was going through that. So I was that
sir in the
with that same
building.
person I was talking
Yes,
about. The same
sir.
thing, bro. Hey, what's up,
Yeah.
man?
But
Big discussion. Salute.
yeah, it comes down to that because you got to understand from this standpoint, like the woman look at the man as being a protector and a provider, but when it comes to that point where that man say, well, I just ain't got it. And that's the whole point where a woman who don't really have herself and knowing her value, she's jumping ship because she's like, I'm not messing with no broke dude. I'm blah, 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 all that normal stuff that society tells you. Don't mess with guys that can't provide for you. Don't mess with guys that this. And just like what's the dude I be watching on? What's his name? Big Boogie or Big Dude? He was like, he was messing with a chick in high school. He was like, look, my blessing's coming soon. But she couldn't see the vision. She couldn't see past from what everybody was telling her. Nah, this guy's a big rapper. And she's like, oh man, I miss my man. No, this ain't nothing like school. I be listening to that song laughing every time I hear that song because the point of it is a lot of times women get influenced by other women. I told my wife all the time, I say, look,
A
not
lot
trying
of
to
times.
not trying to bash none of your family members or none of your girlfriends. But I'm like, most of your girlfriends not even married, you know. So you're
Sometimes you
taking
gotta tell your
advice
girl,
from
hey,
them.
put your phone down. Stay off that Instagram, Junker. People make their life seem like it be popping, and they'll be
Right.
looking at that and be like, well, she over there, he over there doing this, and hey, baby. Women like to compare, like I ain't gonna say all women, but like a lot of women, they like to compare what they got going on with what the next female got going on too. You know what I'm saying? And a lot of females these days, a lot of them got too much pride.
Yeah.
Like a lot of women, like that come from that, and that come from men too. But men,
Nah, you got a
we
fact.
born with pride. Like we come with that shit. Like we come with pride. Like
You
you know
gotta
what I'm
have it
saying?
though,
That's
because
part
we're
of our
in
DNA
constant
is pride.
competition.
So women, so we know how to control our pride. They don't know how to control their pride. They got too much of it. That's why when you say, "Oh, let me go get some beer," nah, no. But then you tell her, cause we look past, we ain't even stuck that little $20 no more. We like, man, look here. They go get your nails did. Here goes some extra stuff. Go do
Yeah,
that, cause I'm this part of me being a man. Like I'm providing for you. I'm looking out for you. Even when you don't look out for me half the time, like I'm still here doing this for you, but you don't take it because you let that pride get in the way. You know what I'm
yeah.
saying? So a lot
And
of
see
women, like
what?
the big boogie girl, she had her pride in the way and she missed out on one blessing.
That's crazy. Like Dr. Dunbar said, though, later on, companionship seems to become very important to them. And that's on both sides of the coin. I'll tell you one thing. Like, I have a buddy, right, who is in his mid 50s right now. We used to work together about 10, 15 years ago on Wall Street. And, at the time, obviously, he was about 40. Now he's about 55. But he was living life and loving it. And, oh man, you crazy, you're in a relationship and da 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 da. And what ended up happening now, he's 55 and he's single. And, he's like, man, so many days I come home and I'm like, damn, if it was just somebody who, when I walk in, I could say, hey, to, right? Because he's like, shit, I don't even have like a dog or something. I just, I come in and it's just me. Right?
He ain't
He
never
was
seen,
like,
man. He ain't never seen Castaway. Better get you a Wilson. Hey, you better get you a Wilson to go start whooping. Boy, I'm talking about, hey, go whoop with Wilson. Yeah, I'm gonna guarantee you that you
go
can get
hoop
over
with
that real
Wilson.
quick. My bad, go ahead, bro. I
Yeah.
had to throw that in there.
That's a good one. But yeah, man. So, you know, I know companionship is definitely something, and I think for us as men, as we gain age, it gets harder because people don't like grumpy old men, right? You'll deal with the bad mouth old lady. Oh, that's mom. She cursed like a sailor. She cursed me out in a second. Oh, you motherfucker. You ain't gonna take that from me. You gonna be like, look, Mr. Jones, get your old ass on now. You know what I mean? But you'll accept it from Miss Johnson at 84 years old, right? But you won't even accept that from Mr. Johnson at 62. You're like, I'm gonna knock his teeth out, right? So I think it ends up getting harder for us to even get that companionship because we don't have, just societally, we don't have the whole community down for us, right? Like we don't have, hey, look out for Big Mama, or look out for whoever is Aunt Sally is old, so go check on her, right? Because even as
Yeah.
men, let me go check on on TJ because she's 70, but ain't nobody checking out Uncle Dean. You know what I
But
mean?
I
They
really,
leaving him listening there.
I feel like every man should like, we shouldn't like seek companions. Our companions should like seek us. Like we find ourselves when we be alone. Like if you ever spend like, I told people all the time, bro, like if you can't stand to be alone and be around yourself, like nobody else gonna want to be around your ass either. You know what I'm saying? Like we find ourselves when we be alone. Some women, they'll lose themselves. And some men starting to pick on them traits too. Like they'll lose themselves when they get to be alone and by themselves. So it's but that's the time you're supposed to like really search and find yourself. It's good to isolate yourself as a man sometimes and just get out there and be like, you know what? I'm gonna do me. You know what I'm saying? When you
Oh
get out of a
yeah,
relationship, so that'll be good to just jump right into. You get out there and just be alone for a little minute, like come on
oh
by
yeah, ain't
yourself,
nothing wrong with
and you
that.
get to know who. You know what I'm saying? You get to know who you is for real, for real.
Yeah, but what I'm talking about is, you know, as the years go on, right? So, like with my boy, I hope at 55 you kind of figured out, yourself, right?
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
So
yeah. You should have had enough a long time. Like hey, you know what I'm saying? You good.
yeah, you done had 50 plus years on this earth. I'm sure you done had enough a long time. So at that point, even man, listen, because even things like, we hear the women talk about baby fever, right? But men, we probably worse because we want that legacy, right? So we want to see our seed run around. Like actually, this should be painfully obvious. Look at how much even men in these spaces we go through and get bitter because we don't get to see our children. How much we end up, being in our feelings because look, this woman won't let me see my child. And the stuff that we're willing to go through and put up with just to see our child. It's even more so than the women, which is why you'll have, especially in our community, women putting men through stuff with the kids
Women
because
like one thing about women though that I found out just by dealing with women and stuff. Women going like when it's over, when a relationship over with, right? They attack the stuff. They come after the stuff and they try to take away from you the things that you love the most. Like when you see a woman say, "Oh, you can't see your kids," that let me know that this man love his kids. Like that's how she getting to him and hurting him. If he was a
hmm
deadbeat daddy out there, she wouldn't even like he'll be like, man, I don't care about the kids anyway. Like, man, you know what I'm saying? That ain't hurting him. So if she coming after your cars, you love that car a lot. Like you feel me? Like you always washing the car, like she gonna destroy your car, take them kids and run them off, move your kids, cause that's what you love the most. Like women know how to get at a man and they come at your money, it's your pockets, your kids, or your car. You know what I'm saying? Like
yeah,
they
your
coming for
cash,
it.
your
You feel
kids,
me?
or your car. That's it.
Facts.
Yeah, because I mean, even with that, man, it gets to be crazy because at the end of the day, it's a tough situation. Like you gotta literally just fight for your kids. I mean, the point of view, and even with me, to the point I've said this sometime on panels that if me and my wife ever got a divorce, the biggest thing of me to do, pay my child support and just let my kids know, man, I love you. And when y'all get old enough, we'll have to sit down and have that talk because I can only do so much. If I can't get through her or through the court, I'm not gonna sit here and drain my pockets going back. I done known dudes go back and forth the court, back and forth, back and forth. They pushing the court they back. That lawyer's getting his money regardless each time. And the dude just got so tired that he got fed up. He's like, man, I'm done with this, man. He like, man, I'm trying to be the best dude I can be, and she keep pushing me back into the hole of like me being a bad dad. I'm like, dude, I know you. I know you a good dude. But the point of it is, you can't sit here and let this break you. You know, hey,
Right.
you love your kids. Hey, do what you do for your kids and just let that be it. Because other than that, that's all you can do. You can't force a woman because that's her whole thing. She, like you said, she know it's getting to you by doing this. That's why she constantly making this happen to you to, make you feel miserable. And on point, a lot of them chicks they know that this how I know I can break him. This how I know I can get to him. This how I know I can make him feel a certain way. Once you eliminate that, what is she gonna go after? There's nothing for her to kind of break into to say, well, dang, I tried this, it didn't work. I tried this, it didn't work. What's next? That's the only thing she can do. Because other than that, you pretty much broke the mold on everything that she tried to break your spirit, try to not let you see your kids. You pay your child support. Oh, he a deadbeat. Like prime example, I want to talk about that. What's the dude? Flow Rider. So Flow Rider's paying $500,000 a year for his kid. Now, this woman tried to make him be a bad father, this and that. When he found out when he found out the chick was pregnant, he didn't do no Lamaze class, none of that stuff. No coming to the hospital when the kid was born until after DNA test. When the DNA test came, he started paying child support. That was it. He had no other ties with that kid. But you gotta understand this. This dude never had no relationship with her. She was a chick that he smashed one time and got pregnant. So that's why it's funny how when these guys come at these situations about, like I said earlier, about smashing these chicks, just random pump and dump. This dude, he hit her one time, whether it been raw with a condom and it bust or whatever. One time, one and done, and had a kid. So that situation landed him to pay, well, I think 18 to $1,500 a month for child support. But then when she
Damn.
found out he got this lawsuit with and that was 1,500. But when she got this lawsuit, I mean when he got that lawsuit with Celsa, the energy drink company, he got 80
Hmm.
$82 million from that lawsuit. Now she went and took him back to court. He has to pay her, I think it's 13,000 for the kid's insurance because the kid has autism, and
Mm.
end up have to pay, I think 1,300 for the insurance. He had to pay 14. I mean 15. I mean I'm getting numbers. He had to pay 14,000 a month for child support. And he got to pay 13,000 for the insurance. And then he has to put 300 a year aside for other needs because the kid is special needs. Now, what is a woman gonna do with a $500,000 for that child? She's gonna live off that money. That
Yeah.
money's not all going to the child. That's why I say the justice system, they bend these rules and break this stuff for the women, and I get it. A woman needs to take care of her kid 100%. But if that woman is not bringing anything to the table, that woman shouldn't have all this money. And see, one thing I gave with Kim, when Puffy went to court with his kid, Kim came in and wrote a list of everything she needed. She needed
Hmm.
bodyguards because of who Puffy was. She needed the kids to go to private school. She needed all this. Most of the time, most women try to get child support from where? California, New York. None of them go to Texas because Texas has up to $3,000. After $3,000, that's the max. No matter what this
Mm.
guy make, you can max out at 3,000. So they try to tend to run from different states that's gonna stifle the amount of money they can snatch from a man. So that's why the
Mm.
lady chose to go to New York because of the budget, the spending, and she got a lawyer that specializes in stuff like this. I mean, Lee talks about prenups, but then you go and have Wisconsin take that prenup, and then it worked Tyrese his prenup, and then that blew my mind. Y'all said that yesterday. Oh, Two Rock gone. He'll come up in a
Mm.
minute. But when Two Rock said that Tyrese was messing with an IG model, I
With
kind
no
of said,
premium.
no, he had a prenup. But the point of
Mm.
it is, the point of him messing with that IG model and she got pregnant, I kind of wrote him off as, man, you asked for it. You
Hmm.
kind of asked for it. Why would you mess with an IG model? You kind of asked for it, dude. I mean
Well,
that.
that's the unfortunate thing. Guys don't, especially when they get to that certain level. And I think like even like with the whole like Kevin Samuels high value thing, even though he wasn't talking like he would be like, "Oh, I don't mean athletes and entertainers." They are considered high value because they're sought after by a lot of women, right? Just for the fact, oh, this prime example, right? Tupac said it best. He was like, "Yeah, money changes them because, I remember before I was famous, right? I'd be at a nightclub in the Chicksville. Who's that? Oh, that's just some regular dude. And then the following week, they couldn't even stand next to me because they was like, "Oh my God, it's Tupac!" Ah!" And just the so women are finding value in the fact that they are able to be attached to the status, right? Because it's like, hey, it's telling other women I'm the one that's desired by this man. So, right, like the whole prize thing, right? You could say men are the prize, but women are the prize too, right? Women are the prize to the man, and the caliber of quality of the man is the prize to other women. It's like winning a sports championship, right? It really don't matter to your team. It matters to the other 32 teams that didn't win. Right? That's what the championship is about, right? So it's the same thing with the women. It really don't matter to her. It matters to the other women that you didn't pick, right? And they're like, wow, well, this guy is certain caliber, I should be with him. And I've even seen women, and this is why, you know, men who deal with certain, like, if you want to say caliber or whatever, certain, universal beauty standard, like the super pretty chicks, those are the easiest chicks to cheat on. Why? Because if you're with a super pretty chick, all the other pretty chicks, or you think they pretty chicks, are going to throw themselves at you and be like, well, yeah, she is pretty, but I'm pretty, so come get me. And they are going to do everything that they can do to try and make you as a man sway to them, right? And that's how you end up in situations like Tyrese and Flow Rider. So it also takes a lot of discipline to be like, hey, let me not smash this chick one time because she knows that I got $82 million. So maybe she can put holes in the condom, and there goes babies, and there's, $500,000 a year from some, I don't even know this chick first name. I'm not even doing it. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I mean, but that's the whole thing. Even before the money stuff, I mean, when you get in the game, when you get into celebrity status, and you start, people start coming around you and start dealing with you a certain way, man. I mean, it's just literally crazy for me. Like I even said myself, when I wanted to get married, I wasn't out here saying, man, I'm gonna just keep smashing chicks till I find the right one. No, man, I'm like, dude, if I want to get married, I need to start going around married minded women. Like Truth as I Know It, he talks about this all the time. Like, I need to go around women that have some type of substance about themselves. They carry themselves a certain way. They look at themselves a certain way, not just because they, trying to get the bag from a dude. Nah, they really want a genuine relationship. Like, how many dudes are looking for those chicks like that? Because, like, even we talk about it in this space, a lot of these dudes are looking for the women who are just, just bad, like the bad bodies and all that.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, take away from, like I said, the bad body women, and then start focusing more on, like, what are these women bringing to the table? Like, that's be the crazy part for me. Like, dude, a lot of these women are not what you so-called saying they are, or so-called saying that they is, because on the reference of you just saying, man, they look good. They just like how, man, she got a bad body. Okay, but do she cook and clean? Is she like this and that? But these is what the things that they're telling other people they want a woman to be, but then they
Right.
look for the polar opposite when they go into these relationships. And I'm like, it don't make sense. You can't say you want this, but then go buy this. It's like I want. It's like I want tequila. I want the most expensive tequila, but I'm gonna go get the El Chop tequila, which is $12 compared to the Julio or the Don, which is $100.
Casamigos or something.
You want the most expensive stuff, but when it come down to it, the pretty bottle looks a whole lot better than the one that's most expensive. Like, it's like I don't know, the most expensive bottle looks the best type of deal, and that's what a lot of guys are shooting at. They say, well, the pretty bottle looks better, so I'm just gonna take the pretty bottle compared to getting the okay tequila, because tequila is tequila. It tastes the
Yeah.
same, but I don't know. I mean, they talk about the quality, but you steady looking at the quality, how you want quality, but you dealing with this. That's why I say when it
Well,
come
you
down
know
to
what it is? I'm gonna use that liquor analogy because that's perfect. He said the pain feels like home for these dudes. Truth is on point, man. But with that liquor analogy, you pointed it out best, right? So it's like you want Ciroc, right? And you want the bottle of Ciroc, the big bottle, the $30 bottle. But instead of getting the $30 bottle, you go to the liquor store and you see the nips, right? And then you go buy the nips, and you buy 3 nips, right? And then you drink them nips straight down, wow, wow, wow. And then you're like, But I don't feel nothing. I ain't drunk. And now you mad because you're like, but this is Ciroc. This is supposed to be the top grade stuff. Well, yeah, but you drink 3 nips, right? Versus a bottle is like 12 nips, right? So you can't expect the same effect from a much smaller volume. And I think that's what ends up happening as well, right? We expect the same, even the women. They expect, hey, listen, you know, I want a Birkin bag. Woman, a Birkin bag is some people's 5 years annual salary, right? And then, right, it sounds nice to, oh, get a Birkin bag, right? But there's a waiting list for a Birkin bag. Even if you have the money to afford to buy a Birkin bag for 400,000 plus dollars, they don't care if you Kim Kardashian. Okay, Kim Kardashian, the royal princess of Arabia is waiting for her $400,000 handmade Hermes bag. You'll get yours when it comes, right? And so then we go buy the knockoff on Canal Street, right, for $400, and then we're mad that it falls apart, right? We can't buy the knockoff. We got to buy the real deal. But in order to buy the real deal, there's qualifications that you got to go through on the man or the woman's side, right? So sometimes there might be a waiting list. And I don't mean as far as, oh, let me put you on a 90-day rule and go ride the carousel and then come back, because women do that to men that they value. So they make you wait because they think your waiting is going to make you value them, and it's not. Right? You could smash a chick on the first day or the 101st day. That chick that you smash on the first day, you can stay with for life. That chick that made you wait 101 days, you're gonna smash and leave. Actually, I've done it. I was dating a girl, she had a 90-day rule. I waited 90 days, day 90, I hit it, day 91, I was gone. I broke up with her. I bought a PlayStation 2 and Grand Theft Auto 3 and broke up with her via text message. Damn, that's some cold shit now I think about it. But
Cold-blooded.
that is, yo, damn, that's cold. But listen, I was young. I was a teenager, right? I was like 19, 20 years old. So actually, I was like 18. This is like 2001, right? So, at that time, even still, there were qualifications that I didn't understand. She was putting out like, "Oh, I'm gonna make you wait because I think it's gonna make you um, fall for me." Because the reason they make you wait is not because they think that you need to settle. What it is that they find more value in you outside of sex. And so their hope is making you wait that you'll eventually find value in them outside of sex, because they understand that men operate initially carnally. So off rip, it's sex, sex, sex. And they understand the post nut clarity. Most of the time, they've been through guys who have had the post nut clarity and be like, hey, all I wanted to do was hit it, right? And then I hit it, and now you ain't that hot no more. See you later. So, it takes vetting from both sides, to be honest. But I gotta go make a phone call, and I should be back in like 15 minutes. If you still on, I'm gonna come back up because I want to cook on this. I'll
Yeah.
be back though.
Okay. Yeah. I mean,
All
it,
right.
it, it comes. Go ahead. Yeah. I hear you. Yeah. I mean, it comes to the point. I'm at the store actually getting some snacks for the kids. But I mean, it just come to a point that where like the relationship, the boundaries, man, that I was, what we was talking about, like situations. Hey, if I'm in a relationship, I need to be respecting my wife. I mean, respecting my girlfriend, if never the wife, but just respecting my girlfriend in a sense to where she can understand that, hey, I got your best interest. Like I said, when I said that earlier, it's not a point of me telling my wife that she can't wear certain clothes. It's just out of be respect. She shouldn't be wearing, certain revealing clothes. Like I said, the whole conversation got started with the guy was saying how his girlfriend was wearing shorts and stuff that was too revealing for his girl. I mean, for people. And he was like looking at how he was getting so many catcall, like so many women. I mean, so many dudes were catcalling his girl and stuff. And that was a bad situation for him. He's looking at it like, man, it's kind of embarrassing. How you doing? Yep. And it got to the point where a lot of situations he didn't even want to, know. Hold on right quick, in about 2 minutes. Yeah, I'm out getting snacks for the kids. It's crazy. I got a whole cart full of snacks. It is crazy, but I'm talking about. Let me show my video. See, I can see my snacks for my boys. Let's see. Boom. That's just them for school. But I mean, the crazy even part of that we were talking about earlier. Like I said, I'm in the store. But like I said, the situation with her wearing her clothes like that is a situation to where, if a man was to do something to a point of looking a certain way, it would be offensive. Well, not really too much snack king. Says, thank you. Yeah, it ain't too much snack king, Jay. It just, kids talking about they tired of eating the little school lunch or whatever snacks they get at school. Cause I got my kids going to summer school, and I'm like, why not? One of my sons, I know he had did bad in math for the first semester, but when it came down to it, I'm like, if both of them can go to summer school, let them both go to summer school because the learning don't stop. So I'm just getting them some snacks. My friend, he even say that my snack drawer don't even be like his. They got a whole cabinet with all kind of like tons and tons of bags of chips. I don't even buy stuff like this for my kids a whole lot of time, but it's just like I say with this point, the only reason I'm doing it because if they not eating at school or they getting these snacks, this is what they gonna need. There you go. Yeah, but get back into the conversation though. But get back into the conversation though. That's what I'm saying. Like we have situations where we gotta sit here and go to these extremes of having back and forth with each other. You know, um, you want a good woman, but yet you're looking for these type of women that are, hey, the standard in which everybody say. Even when it come down to the men, like I said earlier, I'm gonna get back into that. The unicorn. Most of these women technically want a unicorn man. They don't exist. Same thing with the dudes. A lot of these dudes want a unicorn woman. Most of the women that they're looking for in this day and time don't exist. You say, man, I want this type of woman. She doesn't exist generally. I mean, because the whole reference and point that I'm making it from, I said this earlier. You can literally have a woman who goes into the corporate field, find her a man to deal with and be with. But you have a man, if he goes into that corporate, environment, it's drawing in the same. I've heard stories and talked to guys who say, man, I had an awesome woman. She was the best woman for me, man. But it's just we didn't connect on certain things because her mentality. And I keep going back into that society standard. That's why I say, man, with the relationship talk, it's always gonna be heavy on that because you gotta look at it from this standpoint. Everybody has their own way and their own style of doing things. And I say this repeatedly, my 10 might not be your 10. The value that I have for my wife and the things I want my wife to, have in life and some type of substance is it just might not be for you. I mean, if it's not, it's just not. There's no way around it. I can't force, just like you can't force me to be a certain way. I gotta want to do it. And like I was saying about the woman, the dressing the way provocative that she do, it's a point to where she gotta want to change. She gotta want to say, well, I'm gonna dress like this different because my man wants me to dress like this different. Her whole thing was, you met me like this, so it shouldn't be a problem. But it comes a point of growth, you know. And I say this all the time. I'm not the same man I was when I graduated high school. I've grown, I evolved into a different man. So why not I change my perspective and dealing with the same point of with women that I deal with? You know, we all have these issues in relationships that nobody wants to address because, like they say, it's the elephant in the room. I chose that standard of dealing with this type of woman. So this is the standard I'm gonna have to pay for it with the consequences. You know, if I don't leave, I'm accepting these standards that come with this relationship. You know, and the whole point, with the whole cheating aspect, that's my draw. That's my why I draw the line. You know, cheating. If my wife ever cheats, that's why I draw the line. And they say, well, what about death do you part? And to me, if you cheat on me, pretty much this is a standpoint of us, having that death moment because that's a fatal blow to me. And I look at it to a point of me not cheating on you and you cheating on me. I always say this, and I tell my wife, I tell a lot of people, I say, man, I'm a good dude. I go above and beyond. So the reason why, and I tell my wife on this point too as well, Bunny in the building. I say this. When it comes down to it, far as a man, I can't speak from a woman's standpoint, only from what I see. But far as a man, and let me rephrase that because three options, because I know perfect, not perfect, but two Raw said this yesterday, and I was laughing. I was like, it's two type of men. There's a man that cheats, and then there's a man that's a dog. So the men, those men that cheat, is two types. The one that cheats for a reason, or the one that cheat that's a dog. The other men that don't cheat, they're not in that category because they don't have no worries about cheating. But when it comes down to it, the man who cheats is two reasons. Is it because it might be because he's a dog? He just normally just like running around messing with other women like that, or it might be that man is cheating for a reason. And on average, the crazy part is men who cheat for a reason is because of the failures in the household. You know, you will have a relationship that goes south to where that man cheats because his wife don't cook. That man cheats because he's not feeling the love at home. Same thing applies to women. Women do this more than general as most because their feelings are heavy when it comes to relationships. They looking for that man to be that protector and the provider that do things for him, do things for her, take care of things for her. And when she's not getting her needs met, it's only so much she can take. So where she's gonna look away. And that same approach goes for men as well. They're gonna look away to other options. If you have a woman that brings you food to work every day, and your wife don't, even cook dinner for you, I mean, heard bad stories of dudes coming home not eating because the wife is mad at them. The wife is this and that. Even the whole point of cutting off sex. My thing is, I say this to a degree, sex is like water. You cut off the water, who says I'm not gonna go get it from nowhere else? That's the whole thing that I say when men cheat for a reason. Sex is not the whole thing to hold back from a man to make him do at your will, or like why get married? Well, the whole point of you getting married is to be what? In a monogamous relationship. So when women say that men, well, y'all just so sex deviant and y'all just like this about sex. And I'm like, I'm not understanding this because you want me to be monogamous, not only deal with you and no one else, but you're holding back the sex to say that this is a form of punishment or discipline. I mean, like, are we adults or are we kids? You know, I don't think no marriage should be a sexless marriage. If it's a sexless marriage, it's because that's what you want. Even with a man, he might hold back from the woman because 9 times out of 10, it might be a woman that's over sexualized than the man. But the point of it is, on both ends is wrong. We're going everywhere with this stuff today. I mean, like I said, I normally don't, but I just spit this topic because it was just crazy how the guy was complaining about the woman dressing like this. He met her like this. He liked her like this, but he's tired of the issue of him walking around with his girlfriend. I would literally never mess with a woman who has her cheeks out like he said her butt cheeks is hanging down at the bottom of her shorts. I mean, that might be it looks good, but it comes with something. You know, Everything comes with a price, and the thing is, he have to accept that because just like she said, and I agree with her. You met me like this, so what's the problem? But the point of it is with her in growth. If she's not able to understand the position on growth, then that's on her. You know, she's in that position to where she's trying to say, well, I want to be like this and I've been like this and this is a scenario where you have to accept that whole take me as I am. And I get it where a lot of these men are saying they want to be taken as they are, but I mean, come on, dude. Tighten up. Toughen up. You know, for a man to say he needs a woman to take them as he is, it's the same concept. A woman doesn't want to take a man who's not providing, who's not, trying to, lead, just as if a woman, I mean, just as if a man is not trying to deal with a woman that doesn't want to fulfill his needs. I mean, it's crazy the back and forth. Like I said, it's failures on both sides. To a degree, we was talking about this earlier with Catherine and friends, talking about how the situation is 50-50 and 60-40. It's to a degree, a man will always have a good, I should rephrase this, a good man will always have the bulk of the burden in the relationship. And when I speak on the burden, I mean, we're dealing with certain things far as financial, decisions, certain things far as, things with cooking, I mean, cleaning. Most of the time they say that's the woman thing. I do that. I cook and clean in the house. If I would have been here earlier, I would have came in the house and cooked. But I went and ran and grabbed the kids some snacks. It doesn't take away from me cooking and cleaning as being a man. That's why I don't get it when I hear people talk like this. The relationship with me and my wife. My wife, she works, I work. Now it would be a different standpoint if she didn't work. Because I was on Sexy Red TV channel. What's her name? It starts with an M. Not Melanie. Melanie, not Melanie. I forgot her name, but pretty much she was trying to, come from the point of saying that women need to be paid a service because back in the day they were taking care of the family, they wasn't getting paid for that and stuff. And I'm like, well, the guy kind of technically pays the bills while the woman's at work, so he's actually working hard to sustain life for both. I mean, I get it. You have these dudes that are creepy and do all this wild stuff, but where's the break come from where the good man is doing everything right? Like, how's he not getting the full, kind of uh good treatment? And I always say that, like I say with my wife, I let her know, hey man, I'm a good man. I provide, I do a lot of stuff for the family, for the kids, and for things to go neglected. I just think that that's a bad deal for, far as the kids and me, because, you know, we're all in this together to a degree, far as the family wise, but it's an issue when, it's one sided. What's going on, Lonzo? I mean, it's
What's
it's an
good,
issue
Chief?
when it's a one sided thing, because that woman says, "Well, I've been in a relationship. I need this and this done," but then you're looking for the needs of the man, and that's the thing. We talk about this stuff back and forth online, but this is the catch. When it comes down to it, a lot of men are kind of more or less depressed or have issue with a lot of stuff that women get to do and they're not doing. I mean, essentially, if you listen to it, it do sound like a lot of the men want to take the place of being the female. But then you go deeper with it, a lot of men are getting tired that everything that they're doing is not being acknowledged. You know, Father's Day is coming up. You know what replaced Father's Day? For I think it's from last year or the year before when they announced it. You know what replaced Father's Day? Juneteenth. That celebration
Yeah,
is kind of murdering Father's Day. And then it was already before that where women were getting celebrated for being fathers. They said, "Well, I'm the mother and the father." And I mean that situation. I mean, it's to a degree like all the good men, the women that say they want a good man, or the women that talk about they appreciate the good man. A lot of times I'm looking at, it's not the point of men complaining about this, but the acknowledgement of me being a good guy, not cheating on my wife, doing what's right, paying the bills, and then it's only that one day besides my birthday when I can get, something, a handshake, I mean acknowledgement. It just crazy, man. It's crazy.
yeah, no, it's definitely a crazy scene, but at the end of the day, you're absolutely right. I think guys are tired of the lack of acknowledgement, which is where the battle comes from. Um, and so, the next stage of that is, I guess, you know, where do you rise up from that, right? Um, so I guess that's what's being asked for is just even the simple acknowledgement, because like you said, Juneteenth, sure enough, is taking out Father's Day, at least especially in our community, but as a whole, um, and like you said, the guys who are doing the right thing don't get acknowledgement, which is what makes the younger guys go, well, you know what? I'm gonna just be a dirtbag because the guys who are doing the quote unquote right thing, nobody praises them. Even guys who are doing the right thing, we don't even praise each other for doing the right thing. We'll sit up there and go, hey man, this guy, man, he out there getting them, man, he with this one and that one, and we praise the dude for that instead of being like, man, this dude, he can't stay still. Who can't stay still for a minute. Because if he can't stay still with her, he can't stay still with me. If we're doing business together, if we gotta hold the fort down, right? So I think we're at an impasse because we don't even praise each other for staying still, right? Like we that's why I do the hashtag Husbands Unite, because it's like, hey, we gotta, if the whole family and the community is what we're concerned with, and that's kind of what we got to do, right? I even mentioned to a guy the other day, he was talking about SYSBM, and I was like, well, part of saving yourself would extend to your community as a whole. And why is that? Because everybody in your community as a whole is what affects you, right? So in order to save yourself, you kind of got to save your community so that you're not walking out there in disarray, right? You don't want to walk in your house and then you got to close the bunker down and everything's closed down, and then when you want to go out and travel into the world, well, now you got to put on battle gear and go outside. No, you want to be able to, be comfortable and have a community where, you know, everything is going well. Everyone works together. Everybody, knows everybody, looks out for folks. Hey, that's my neighbor, this, that, and the third type of deal, instead of always at each other's throat. And I think today, in today's time, we are always at each other's throat, even as just regular guys. We want to, and that's natural for men to have that bravado, but we have to also teach each other, and part of that comes from, I think, actually, if you saw my live this morning, the gentleman, I can't think of his name right now, who started Ariel Investments, stated, he said, look, when I came up, my father explained to me, and this is probably where, some of that give back and everything that a lot of guys don't like comes from. He said, the thing is, I'm here, but I know that I didn't get here alone. And so because I didn't get here alone, I'm charged with a responsibility to give back, to reach back, right? If I could just reach 100 young black men, right? And today you can reach 100,000 young black men easily through an Instagram, right? And have a positive effect, right? Like the rapper T Grizzly, right? Even though he, has the gangster rap music or whatever, he actually did do some positive. What did he do? Well, he went on to where the kids are. Where are the kids? All the kids are still playing Grand Theft Auto online, right? So what did he do? He actually started making real life money with these kids. How? Because apparently nowadays when you go online and play video games, you can make real life money. So he created real life businesses on the video game, and these kids work at their video game characters on the real life, in the job, making real life money, right? And he's reaching them where they are. I think that's another big disconnect, because, right, I remember being a teenager and having arguments with my mom, like, look, the world today ain't like it was 20 years ago when you was a teenager. And, the world today definitely ain't like it was 20 years ago when I was a teenager. So the kids today, we were just getting, cell phones and stuff 20 years ago. Now, it's if like even little stuff like bullying doesn't stop because there's social media. So you go to school, you got to deal with that all day, and so there's a different dynamic. So we do have to learn to meet people where they are, and even in relationships at our age, it's a whole lot different because this stuff is introduced to us, and now we all got the cell phone. I mean, right now we're sitting here in two different states. When we was in 18 or 20, we'd have never met. There'd have been no way on earth for me and you to have met and even, done business together. So the world has been made a lot bigger, but a lot smaller. And the fact that, like you said, with the women's options, she can go online and she don't have to worry about, well, let me marry this man, because all she got to do is, go on the OnlyFans, shake her butt for 10 minutes, and it's gonna be 20 guys putting in $10. That's $200. you know. So there's a lot of nuance to stuff, but I think just as guys in our realm, we can pass down some help.
Yeah, because I mean, even like I said, with Truth as I know it, he basically always say this, and he say this a lot. I mean, even with the point of reference, us being married men, The guys that want to be married, I mean, they can follow the trend and talk with us. The
Mm,
craziness of it is, it's like dealing with the guys who say they want a family, but then listen to, like, I don't even know who this Rolo guy is, but just hearing that list about young guys at 20 something getting vasectomies, and then this guy been married for 20 something years. I think he got about 3 kids, and he's been married for over 20 some years with 3 kids, but he telling
mm,
people nowadays marriage is a bad deal. So why you not divorced? Like, even the whole point, like, men who are talking about marriage, they saying, man, don't get married, that's a bad deal. Have you ever been married? No, and I'll never get married. Like, how's it a bad deal? Explain. Well, the woman takes all your money, this and that. I'm like, on average, most guys don't even make enough money to pay alimony, but yet scream how alimony is so bad for a man. I'm like, you
yeah,
don't make enough to say this stuff that you're like, man, the alimony and the
yeah,
this and that would. I'm like, no, that's not your, like. I think who was the comedian was like, that's not your line. That's not what you're supposed to say. That's
yeah,
that's not your, like, that's not you. Like, you don't make all this money that you're trying to portray and say that people need to be and this and that. I'm like, come on, dude. Let's talk
yeah,
about this, because at the end of the day, hey, you make enough money for this. You don't make enough money for that. And a lot of times we have these arguments and talking online where we try to say, man, women this and women that. I get it. A lot of guys get crushed, and a lot of guys get, that short end of the stick. But that's the whole thing about the vetting process. That's the whole thing about me understanding who I'm dealing with and who I'm marrying. If I'm sitting here talking junk about these women, but then turn around a couple of months later try to marry, like, it don't balance out. I'm talking about, man, all these so-called, we're gonna use the standpoint of, they call them Keishas. Well, the
mm,
Keishas are this and the Keishas are that. And what I said earlier, you talking about the Keishas, but you're ready to have sex with a Keisha. It don't make no
mm,
sense. Like I said, when I wanted to get married, I wasn't still out here trying to so-called have sex with the so-called Keishas. I wanted and tried to have, conversation and deal with these women respectfully, because Pac, even I don't want it if it's that easy. If it's
right.
that
Even
easy,
Pac said that. Yeah.
yeah, it comes to a point, like, you can know the difference when you get to know somebody, that either she was an easy girl or she really was feeling you and you really got in the moment. I've never had no relationship like that to where I've talked to people and they said, man, this woman is incredible. She's remarkable. Man, I met her, and man, she's like, just we this and that, and we like best friends. I've never experienced that. But
Okay.
for the people that have experienced that, man, that's like the love of their life, man. I met this woman, she was so cool, man, this and that. Man, man, like, I didn't want the night to end. It was this one guy, he told me that. It was crazy. And
Yeah, that's
it
how me
was
and my
so
wife are.
it was so funny, man. It was like, it was a shocker that the guy told me this. And people say stuff to be saying stuff. Everything he told me about his girlfriend that he's finna get ready to marry was everything when I met her in person. This was some random guy I met over the road, and
Mm,
he told me this stuff about his girl. And lo and behold, I think it was probably 4 months later, I seen the guy. He was going to buy a truck from one of these businesses that my company do work with. And so the guy was like, he walked in. I don't think he recognized me too much until I told him. I said, hey, man, you don't remember me? He's like, what's going on, brother? Just, hey, seeing a black man giving him a handshake. And I was like, dude, I'm the guy that you met at the Wisconsin. You told me about your girl, this and that. This girl walked in, everything that he said that she looked, this she's like 10 years older than him. She
mm,
didn't look, she looked younger than him. He was I think he was like 38. No, because she was in her 50s. So he was like he was like 40 something, and she was 50 something. But the point of reference was she didn't look her age. She looked younger than him.
mm,
She worked out, took care of herself, and then the whole crazy part about it was, he was like, yeah, she got a lot of money, and man, I was like, we just got together and we just like clicked. That man, just like such a magical thing. And he said, you know, that the when he really took her serious as him being with her as his girl, like they both went to a club one day and got drunk. And he's a truck driver, so he said, "Man, my truck is up the road. I'm gonna go up here and get in my truck." He's like, "I can send you home with an Uber." She's like, "No, man, I just sleep in the truck with you." They
Oh
both
wow.
got jumped in his 18 wheeler and slept, and it was crazy because the dude explained, like, "Yeah, man." And she finally, after having that conversation and that night, we was talking all night. We was like little kids. I let her sleep on the bottom bunk. I slept at the top bunk, you know, try to respect her. Like I wasn't trying to, you know, come at her and stuff. And we just had conversation the whole night. Once it was said and done, she invited him to his house. She had like I think a 6 or 7 bedroom house out
Damn.
near Eagles Landing, and she had one of those Rick Ross driveways, the driveway that
Hmm.
stretches all the way out. And the guy said he, you know, started talking to her and everything. He said, "Man," he said, "I see the lady. She had some cars and stuff." And so I'm like, okay. He like she had a car with two R's on there, and he was like, he said, "I seen the Mercedes, I seen the Lexus she always drive. All her cars were like 2019 and newer." And he was like, "I seen the car with the two R's on it. I ain't pay no attention." And because she had went into the garage to throw some trash away. She was like, "Oh man, I didn't want you to go in there." And he's like, "Why? I was just throwing away trash." She's like, "You seen the car?" He's like, "And what's wrong with the car?" You know, she had a Wraith.
Oh wow.
She had a Wraith. I was like, but I mean, this like fairy tale type of deal where people don't have these type of relationships like that no more. To where they just meet and instantly hook. They were, you know, in love with each other, and then the relationship evolved into the marriage. You don't see that no more. It's very rare.
Yeah, that takes a while. Like I said, me and my wife was like that. We met online, and it's funny that you say, you know, um, date with intentionality, right? Like you said, if these men want marriages, they got to seek what marriage is, right? Like I got a homeboy who is one of those perpetual relationship people, right? Like he's always, if you break up with somebody, the next week he's with somebody type thing, right? And but they always end because he keeps dating the same woman, even though it's a different person. You know what I'm saying? Like he's going for a certain stereotype. And what I explained was, in order to find something different, you have to go somewhere different, because where you're going right now is going to be the same. You know, you keep getting the same Keisha because you keep going where Keisha hangs out. If you want, you know, Yolanda, you got to go to where Yolanda hangs out. Yolanda don't hang out with Keisha, right? Yolanda's a little more upscale. Yolanda hangs out at a little more upscale places. So, you know, especially because it seems like the most problematic area is dudes who are like 36 to about 50, right? It seems like this age range, our age range, if you between 36 and 50, you are having these relationship problems. And one of the things is that guys aren't dating with intention. When me and my wife met, we met, you know who Fat Man Scoop is? The DJ who used to do you got
Yeah,
a
I
hundred
know it.
dollar bill? Yeah. Right? So he had a TV show on MTV called Man and Wife. And it was him and his wife. They since divorced, ironically enough, but it was him and his wife, and they was doing the whole mating and dating relationship thing back in like 2006, 7, 8, right? So about 2007, right? So they started the whole relationship thing, and they had a MTV show called Man and Wife TV, and they had a website called Man and Wife TV, and it was a forum where people would go and talk about, you know, dating and relationships. And that's where I met my wife. And what ended up happening, we started talking in the chat, and then we went and we had exchanged. This was back when you had the America Online or the Yahoo Messenger, and we was talking through Yahoo Messenger, and we did the video cam, and then we went on a date. And on our first date, We stayed over each other's houses for like the week. I had went to New York and stayed with her for the week, and then she came to Connecticut and stayed with me for the week, and we never separated since. Now, that is part of the fairy tale, but the problem is that the fairy tale doesn't tell you the whole story. The fairy tale just goes, and they live happily ever after the end. The thing about happily ever after is it's not easy. And I think that's where these relationships are and people are having the issue, right? Marriage relationships, period, are work, but marriage is really, really work. There's going to be a whole host of times where you and your lady ain't feeling each other, right? Especially in a marriage, right? Why? Because you spend a lot of time with this person, right? Every day you go to sleep together, you wake up together, right? You spend holidays together. Every day you go to and from work, you see each other, this, that, and the third. Well, over time, you start to get annoyed with each other, but the work comes there. That's the happily ever after, is the beauty of knowing, hey, you know what? I'm pissed at this woman, or this woman's pissed at me. She ain't feeling me right now. She want to knock my head off. I want to knock her head off, right? But at the end of the day, you wouldn't actually do that because you wouldn't want to see yourself with anybody else, right? Like, even if you look at Pookie and Ray Ray and Keisha, right? They might have a dynamic where they're arguing back and forth with each other. Bitch, I hate you, nigga. I hate you, nigga. Fuck, like Glorilla and the other rapper guy from Memphis, right? Well, the reality is they really couldn't be without each other. It wasn't. Oh yeah, Moneybagg Yo. And so, they really, that song shows you the dynamic, right? And everybody is in that position. Now, when it comes to like the Kevin Samuels thing, I agree in part with what you're saying, because it's really messed up to be like, well, if you ain't got $50 to go out on a date, then you shouldn't be dating. And what if you break that down to its bare bones, it literally is saying that people without money don't even deserve to attempt to find love, right? And that's pretty messed up. So yeah, while we do have to get our money right, if you just get your attitude right and realize, hey, look, marriage is hard work. I'm not gonna be, completely where you want me to be as a man, woman, and you're not gonna be exactly where I want you to be, right? So if a woman, I think the problem is this: a woman might not be looking for financial independence, but she is looking to be comfortable, right? Whatever comfortable is. So she might not need the Birkin bag, but maybe a bag from Walmart, right? Or a bag from Canal Street that looks like Michael Kors, right? So she can, stunt with her homegirls and look good too, still, because that's part of, stress-free and socializing, just like fellas, right? If I come with a new haircut, hey man, you fly. Or if I come with the new Hellcat, I got the Hellcat so I can pick up some ladies. But just like the ladies got the BBL for the women, I didn't get the Hellcat so I can have the girls. Oh, that's the Hellcat. They don't know. They just know. Oh, he got a car that other guys like, right? How do I know? Because I told this 22-year-old girl last month. I was like, yeah, I'm gonna go get me a 2006 Lexus LS 460. Oh, okay. All she knows was that I said a Lexus. she don't know what an LS is versus an NX versus a ES or a GS or an IS, right? I know the difference. Guys who are in the cars will know the difference if I pull up with an IS 250 versus an LS 460. The chick's not gonna know. So just like women do BBLs for other women, men do, muscle cars for other men, right? It's so that I can show off, rah, rah. Yeah, look, I got this muscle car, and this muscle car will attract women. But that's the surface stuff, right? We don't show to men, hey, I also, yeah, I pay the bills and do the manly stuff, but there's also the emotional aspect. And I think that gets washed away for men on both sides. Because women act like men ain't supposed to have emotions, and men act like men ain't supposed to have emotions, right? Women actually don't act like that except for in public when they're in a disagreement. Because women are the ones who see, the super gangster thug guy who's a super killer. They see him cry. They see him sad because you know his cousin got shot. You know, they see him scared to go back to jail. They see him licking his wounds from being out there having to do whatever he had to do, right? So they get to see those tender moments that we get to hide, but then they don't exactly that we get exploited for that. You know what I mean? So I think it's that lack of appreciation again.
Yeah.
And my fault.
Go ahead.
I was gonna say real quick, and it again with the younger generations, they're seeing that, right? It's just like when the women were younger, and now like women of our age, they see, oh, even when a man makes a good amount of money, right, and the woman is happy just being at home cooking and cleaning and letting him make the money. Oh, you're slavery. I would never want to live like that. So now, because back in the 50s, the women were like not explaining the joy of being a stay-at-home mom, or the guys weren't explaining the joy of being the sole source of income, right? Like you and two Ross said, right? You had your wife who wouldn't give you the 20, right? But then you turn around and hey, listen, go get your nails done, hey this, hey that. Why is that? Because as a man, it feels good to be like, hey, go take care of your ba 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 ba. How do I know this? Because with men, even the ones who you call deadbeats, right? Men, well, when it comes to their kids, even the dudes who act like deadbeats, right? When it comes to their kids, if it comes down to, yo, it's this fresh pair of J's that I want, but my son is 12 years old and he got to go to school, and I could either get him the J's or me the J's. You know who's going to end up in them J's? His son, right? Because as a man, it feels good to give, right? That's kind of our nature is to give, right? That's why we have penises, because we give the D to the woman, right? She receives, right? That's why women consume and that's why men produce, right? We're naturally givers, right? We give our seed to the woman. The woman receives our seed. So I think, like you said, it might be that dudes are trying to role reverse and become receivers, right? But the only receiver that a man should be is on the football field as a wide receiver. Other than that, we're givers. But go ahead.
Yeah. I mean, you're right. It gets a lot of times to the point of in the relationship, a man got to do so much regardless. You know, even with the woman, she she to a degree can have equal, responsibilities, but it's not really that to a degree because as women, I'm sorry, I'm burping, but when the responsibilities go both ways, that woman she got a lot of burden to carry. 9 times out of 10, that woman is not trying to carry all that burden. She'll help with the burden, but she's not trying to carry. But as a man, you got to carry that burden regardless. And even in the situations with relationships, a lot of dudes they want to point the finger as the woman is not doing this.
I do this and I do that. What's wrong with it? Like I said, the role reversal is, I mean, to a degree, it's getting to a point that you can see the writing on the wall that if it's to a degree, it's not even a point of men getting to a standpoint of saying, man, I want to be like women. It's the neglect part. That's where a lot of men, having real issue is the neglect. Like I'm being neglected as the man that take care of things. I'm being neglected as the man who, kind of do this. So that's why that pushback comes from. And a lot of women,
See,
well, you're whining. You're whining. Go ahead.
yeah. Well, see, here's where I think that role reversal comes into play, and I think this comes back to a lot of the single parent households, right? Because if you look at our fathers and our grandfathers, they got neglected just as much, if not more. Even with stuff like their health, right? Like I was talking to this white guy, and he was like, "Yeah, back when I was growing up, man, my dad, he had because his. I was talking to him. I was in the hospital, and I was talking to him about my stomach conditions, and he was telling me his dad had the exact same thing. And he was like, what his dad would do is he would go to work all day, come home, hey kids, how y'all doing? He would go lock himself in the room, drink his beer, whatever, have his cigar, have his, big piece of chicken. And then the rest of the night, he would come in the room, lock the door, and he'd be back and forth in the bathroom all night throwing up because his stomach issues, right? But nobody, at the end of the day, he was like, there's nothing else he could do but get up, go to work the next day, and deal with it, right? And this is what a lot of men in the 40s, 50s, 60s, and 70s did. Black men too, right? We took a lot and we just kind of dealt with it. And if you look at high society, that's kind of what we're trying to emulate today with all the feelings and stuff. I mean, even things as simple as marriage initially was for the wealthy, right? It really wasn't for the common person. But especially in America, we live like gods compared to the rest of the world, to, third world countries and stuff, right? Where else in the world, really, other than, westernized countries, can you be like, it's 10:30 at night. I'm hungry. Let me just call someone and get some food sent to me, right? In most of the world, it's 10:30 at night. I'm hungry. Let me go get some wood so I could start a fire, so I could go hunt and see, whatever's in the wild, and let me get some spears or some something to go hunting and killing. And then, it's going to be 4 hours before I can finally eat this food. And then I got to hope that everything else in the wild don't catch up to me and steal my food or kill me, right? That stuff is going too. So the neglect, I get it, but we used to just take it on the chin, right? But I think that whole emotional thing, especially in the South, man, men from the South, even today, right? I think this is more like maybe a North, East Coast and a West Coast thing. Because most of the time, especially a lot of the guys who are like manosphere adjacent are Southern guys. And I don't mean Southern implants, men who moved to the South, but guys who are born and raised in the South. Like, I'll even use you as an example, Sheed. You sound like a man who's like, hey, listen, I know, stuff is hard, this, that, and the third, but now it is what it is. I got kids and a wife. I can't not. You know what I mean? Now, you'll at least go out there and try, right? Even if you don't catch the whatever you're hunting, right? Like I said, it's 10:30 at night. Maybe you're going hunting. So now we don't actually have to physically go out and hunt the boars or the turkeys or whatever to go get our food, right? But you still got to go out there and hunt to make sure that you provide so that at 10:30, your kids want some snacks, you can go get them some snacks, right? It's the same hunting. So now you're putting yourself in a position where, maybe you ain't feel like going to get them snacks. But what did you do? Shit, you got up and went them and got them snacks, right? That's selflessness,
Hey,
right?
I'm about to get ready to drop this and go over to Two Raw. He live,
All right.
so I'm gonna go over there for a minute since he live. Tell him drop the link and we can, pick this conversation back up or deal what he's doing. Because I mean, it's on the same lines. But my biggest thing, like I say, a lot of times I go on a lot of those panels and show those guys. They be like, "Why you over there with those manosphere guys and talking with those guys?" Because at the end of the day, all the false narratives that's saying that marriage don't work, we're living proof of it. When they say that marrying women with kids and the kids are bad, those are the women that you choose. There's a
Yeah.
lot of good women with kids, and these kids are respectful. I don't get it. Like, I'm not gonna go after the so-called girls that they say are Keishas and bad to society and try to wife them and then come back and complain about the issues that they had. I mean, you should have seen the writing on the wall before you said I do, and that's the biggest
Mm,
thing that I be kind of be conflicted with a lot of these guys. They make claims that these women are so bad, but why are you dealing with the bad women? It's a choice. Well, she changed. Well, if she changed, leave. You're not. I mean, besides marriage, you're not tied by the hip to a woman. Leave.
yeah.
And I always say
Well,
that's my biggest. It's cheating. Like, if you cheat, I can't forgive that.
I hear that. Yeah, that's the just leave. But no doubt, I'm gonna go ahead and hop off. I'm gonna check you over at Two Raw. He dropped the link. Hop back up there. You know my thing. Work in progress every day and see success. And man, husbands unite here for the grind. Let's get wealthy. WHEALTY. So we're gonna get wealthy and healthy. What up, AM1? Skills and resources. Salute.
Yeah, man. I mean, that's the biggest thing. We're gonna end up going over the two rock chat, but respectfully to a lot of men that are married, a lot of men that are in relationships. I mean, these the guys should be moving the forefront on guys that want. If I want to get married, like I said, I sit there, I talk to my cousin, I talk to my granddad, I talk to guys that were married, friends, family members that are married, and they gave me the keys to a successful marriage, looking at a woman being a good woman, and the old term, if you lay down with dogs, you're gonna get fleas. You know, the thing is, if you want a certain type of woman, you got to move in that capacity. You can't sit here and say, I want the best, but then I'll settle for the mediocre or the worst until the best comes along. You got to always move in that purpose and that principle of having the best. That goes for men and women. You know, like I said, from both ends, for men and women, we're both failing in relationships. We're both failing in life to a point or to a degree because our standards. And that's why I told guys I was going to end up giving that unicorn and AM1. You might can pull up on this and drop that on your video. The unicorn, the men who want the unicorn, the women who want the unicorn. Some of these women don't exist that these men want, and some of these women don't exist that I mean, these men want these women, they don't exist. And the same applies for the women. These men don't exist. They're unicorns, you know, and that's the bad part about it. You're putting a standard out here that you want this woman to be so glory and this and that, and this type of woman pretty much don't exist. You know, I mean, all this submissive, just like the woman that wants a man that's 6 feet tall, makes over six figures. I literally said, even with the numbers, I think the numbers are pushing men that make over 600,000 is in the what percentage of less than 20% of the men make over 600. I mean, make over six figures.
And then you want to talk about tall men. On average, what they say, what 12% of the average in America in general, 12% of men that are that tall, and most of them are in the NBA. And then when you start taking the fact of the numbers out there, most of these men who are married, that lowers the pool for a woman to find a 6 foot tall, six figure man, you know. And besides, the ones that the women are talking about, it just a lot of times it don't exist. Same for the men. This whole submissive thing is subjective because what is the submissive to you? Like I tell people, my wife is my 10. She's not everybody else's 10, but she's my 10. My 10 is different than your 10. I told guys, I say when it come down to it, Kevin always said that Kelly Rowland is a 8 or a 9 compared to Rihanna. In my book, Kelly Rowland was the 10. Rihanna was like the 7 or 8. But like I said, depending on the person you talk to any given Sunday, that's what they like. But like I said, drop two raws link up here. I'm gonna drop it one more time, and we're gonna go ahead and shoot over there. Holla at two raw, but it is what it is. Until next time, I'm gonna get back on my finance and hashtag here for the grind is still going. I just been working, man. I don't do my 20 minutes in the morning because I got to get to that money, and I'm do some more workout videos with me on the VR. And hey, just because I'm married, I still have a standard in which I have to provide for myself. As being a married man, being healthy. So with that being said, like always, we here. Shout out to everybody in the building, and we gone. Peace.